What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 11 of the Blue River Bow Hunting Podcast. I have Adam, the neighbor, with me again this week. Talk to his buddy, Jason Burcham. How's it going, man?
How's it going?
Not too bad. Have to hang out with this ugly guy.
Yeah.
Could be worse. You have to work with me every day.
I see a lot more of them than you do.
But we figured we'd get you on here, and he's always telling me all these stories about you and all these trips you guys been on. And I'd like to pick your brain a little bit on the, hitting some of these public land spots and just kind of your tips and tactics on how everything's worked out for you over the years.
Right.
But the first question I always ask my guests is how you got started in hunting.
So my first job was when I was 16, and I worked on my uncle's farm in Upland, Indiana, and they owned a lot of farm ground. We took care of animals, rode around on John Deeres. Well, there was like 4 of us. We did a lot of mowing. They had like a pet deer there, but my uncle and then one of his best buddies was a coworker there. He worked on the farm as well as a second job, and we would all mow together, whatnot. Well, those guys, we're always talking about hunting. I'd never hunted before. My dad didn't hunt or anything. So they were like, man, you should get into it. You should hunt with us. And I was like, okay, well, I'll try it out. I'm down, whatever. I was 16. And this is my uncle that's like, I don't know, he's probably 18, 20 years older than me or whatever. So these guys were in their mid-30s talking about hunting. I was 16. They offered to take me. And one of the guys ended up owning an archery shop for 20 years, a real successful archery shop here locally. And he was like, man, I got everything at the house. I could set you up a bow today. We go to his house. He sets me up a bow. I'm 16. I start practicing, and I was hooked right away. I started I remember on breaks at the farm, I would drag the target out and be flinging arrows at break. Like these guys were in there like playing video games or like napping, they were just doing whatever, random stuff. And I was out there shooting my bow all the time. So then that fall, they started having me getting into it even on the clock. Like, so we're riding around on the John Deere Gator, like we're putting out feed, checking camera, there wasn't really cameras back then, I guess, but we were checking, hanging stands. We were cutting shooting lanes, all that kind of stuff. And I had no idea what we were doing, but we were on the clock doing it, And then we were at my buddy's garage, and he's setting me up that bow that night. And he's like, man, I should start an archery shop with all this stuff I got. Well, he did. Like literally, like the next day, I'm out shooting my bow. Him and my uncle are like, they're in there creating a business name logo, designing the logo on the computer, and like making business cards, and like started his archery shop, which became like a top selling archery shop in the state of Indiana here locally. Like he was killing it for 20 something years. And, but those guys got me into hunting. So basically it was my uncle and Donnie Monroe, which he's on TV. He's on Sportsman's Channel on a hunting show now. Lives in Kansas, but he's kind of like an uncle to me as well. It's my uncle's buddy, but like I worked with him, and like I've been friends with him forever. He's like an uncle that's not really family, but I consider him like an uncle type guy.
That's wild that you kind of jumped right into bow hunting. Most guys maybe dip their toes in, gun season or some small game or something like that. Getting thrown right into the fire, bow hunting. I'm sure you learn from your, mistakes probably pretty quickly then.
Right. Yeah. I didn't have success like early on bow hunting, but I went, so I had deer encounters. I really didn't shoot and miss right away that I remember. But I shot a deer that season, opening day of gun with my uncle's shotgun. I borrowed my uncle's shotgun and shot a doe at 75 yards, dropped her in her tracks with a shotgun. And
that's awesome.
I was hooked right then at 16, had a kill. And I probably got my first bow kill when I was 18, a doe.
I was going to say, for people to know, Birch, how many deer have you killed with a gun?
Me and my buddy just tallied this up the other night. I've killed 23 bucks in my life. and only one was with a gun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I need to be more like you.
And the one that's with the gun is my rattling antlers in my backpack.
Wow.
That's awesome.
He was like
they're about to turn to dust.
It was a traditional 6-pointer, but he didn't have brow tines. So it was perfect. Like, we cut his rack off. I drilled holes and put a lanyard through it, and
those are the ones that got the tape around them and stuff, ain't they?
Yeah. I shot that deer.
You've had them for years, yeah.
That's the only deer I've ever killed with a gun. Was I shot that 6-pointer with a shotgun, which he would look like an 8 if he would have had brows.
Mm-hmm.
But
you don't need to talk him up. He's a little feller.
But he's in my hunting backpack. He's part of my hunting gear forever. So.
That's awesome.
What drew you to bow hunting to just stay in it so hard and excel in it, and not even whip the guns out that much?
Well, that's a whole nother story. Honestly, but
basically, he fell in love with bow hunting.
Yeah. I kind of got thrown into bow hunting only, and I haven't taken a gun to the woods in 21 years now. I think 21 years, something like that.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Birch, but I think there's been 1 year you've shot one on opening day of gun. Did you have one?
I've killed 3 big bucks on opening, 2 big bucks on Saturday of opening gun, and I killed 1 big buck on a Sunday of gun.
That would just be awesome to be sitting in there and hearing all the gunshots. You don't even think when you hear a shot during opening day gun season, everybody's eyes, it's a giant down.
Right.
Nobody's sitting in the woods thinking, I wonder if someone shot one with a bow right now.
Right. You could be a silent assassin on some
or shot a 4-corner or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
You from the looks of your wall behind you, you seem to be a killer, if that's what you want to say. You're always getting on these big bucks. Is in Indiana, is that all on private land, or is there any public land in that?
I have one Kentucky public land on the wall, and I have one Indiana public land on the wall.
I was thinking both those fighting bucks were.
No, only one of them.
One of them was okay.
Yep, one of them's from Brookville.
Yep.
So how did you luck into this private land? Is it something where you went knocking door to door? Is it something that you lucked into, or is it something is it a lease? How's that work out?
Yeah, all of mine are just I just have permission to hunt them. Basically, like my family name, my grandfather's been out there in the country living in that area for 50 years. So all the neighbors are like, oh, the Burchams are Burchams is a big family. Here in northern Delaware County. So I kind of used the last name. They really didn't know me, but they knew my fathers and uncles and my granddad and stuff. So
I feel like Delaware County is overlooked when it comes to big bucks. I know there's some real big giants taken up there. I actually know the conservation officer for Delaware County. I went to college with him at Vincennes, Jordan Brand. Not to bring up names or anything, but his dad was a sheriff there in Delaware County. And I remember coming up there with him on the weekend sometimes out of college, and him showing me some of the roadkills that they got. They got the roadkills mounted. They're like 200-inch deer hit by a car.
So there's a crazy story. You're going to get us into stories already. So you're talking about a roadkill mount. Oh, shoot. I don't know. How many years ago was it, Birch? 5? Roughly? Yeah,
I mean, if I had to guess right now, I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, so probably 5 years. Years ago, I was watching a Colts game. And hell, it's been dark for probably an hour, 2 hours. Yeah. And I get a call out of Birch, and he's kind of out of breath. I'm like, what the hell? He probably killed another big one. You need help? What's going on? And he's like, dude, you're one of the few people that believe me, but what would you say if I told you I seen a 250-inch deer? And I said, holy smokes, I believe you. I know him that well that he's not making this up. And he's like, okay, basically tell me to brace myself. It's in full velvet. And I'm like, are you shitting me?
Is this in what, November?
No, it may have been late October, early November. It was still bow season.
October 14th.
Oh, he's got it down. Yeah. But and I was like, no way. And I was like, when we going? He said, I ain't even taking my dad. He said, this buck is not going to be known as the Bonowitz buck. He said, this buck is not going to be known as the Bonowitz buck. He said, I don't want to see your face on the outdoor channel with this buck that I've seen. And I mean, he can fill in the rest. I mean, he could have had a chance at it, but I'll let him take the ropes from here.
Yeah, that story is unbelievable. I just started hunting this woods, right? So I didn't even have trail cams in there. I was going in there with a climber every time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was climbing this same tree. It was a perfect tree. I climbed it, several times, passed a lot of deer out of it. Well, then finally I was like, you know what, I'm go. So I take my climber in there, but they had combined around the edge of the woods. So there was cut corn. And I was like, I don't have a shot to the field from where I keep climbing this tree. But I go to the tree, take my backpack and standoff, put it all back on. And then I was like, I need to be able to shoot out in the field. They're going to be out there feeding in that fresh cut corn. They just cut it like the past couple days. I go out there, climb a different tree 50 yards away, and I see about 8 deer that evening. Every one of them went over there and smelled where I had laid my stuff on the ground, like where I had set my backpack down.
Right.
And then that year I finally bought good binoculars. I had, $200 Bushnells. I've always been a cheap bino guy until that year. I had these new binocs, so I'm like, every deer I see, I'm just binocking them. I'm just playing with these expensive binoculars I got. And lo and behold, here comes a freaking 40-point buck, 250-inch, over there smelling where I had been at 50 yards. And like with the foliage down, I could have shot, but it was October 14th. There was a lot of greenery still up. So I'm looking at him through all the leaves and branches, and it was unbelievable. But all those deer did end up going out and feeding in the cut corn like I had thought, and they all fed by me except him. He's the only one. He went out the same spot they did, but he must have went south, and all the other ones came north when he fed down the edge. He never came my way, but I had my bow in hand and was shaking, never pulled my phone out. Like Adam said, I could hear deer walking around me at dark, so I didn't get down until I knew there was no deer near me because I did not want to blow that deer out of there, and I didn't want people to know.
He stayed for a long time in the woods.
I bet.
Yeah, and the funny part, he's like, dude, I looked at it with my binocs. They're brand new. I pull them away from my eyes, make sure I'm seeing the right thing, and put them back up. Like he's like, am I seeing this? And then that
was my guesstimate then when I told Adam on the phone walking out that night was like, I said, do you believe me when I say I see the 160? He was like, oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I was like, well, you're not going to believe this, but I just seen a 250-inch buck. And like, if I showed you the trail cam pics, like which, everybody around there had known about this deer, which I did not. I only encountered him. I didn't know he was in that area. I just started hunting that area in that woods, and I had no cameras over there or nothing. And if you seen the trail cam pic, you would at first glance you'd be like, that's a 250-inch deer. Like there's no doubt about it.
I can't imagine.
Like the hole in the horn buck or whatever. Like it's crazy like that. Like, but he ended up getting hit on the highway on here on McGalliard. He got hit by an old lady, like a 90-year-old lady, hit him and killed him on the highway there.
Oh shit!
Like 2 weeks after the day that I seen him, right outside of my woods is where she hit him.
And DNR ended up picking it up, and he ended up getting pictures from the DNR. Did you end up going and checking that out when there were?
I never got to put my hands.
Somebody
on
you knew,
person,
yeah.
But the people that got to cut the meat off of the deer, like the sheriff called them or whatever. You could be on the sheriff list or whatever.
Right.
I knew those people, and they were sending me all the pictures, and then I already knew the deer, because I had encountered them 2 weeks before that. And was keeping it on the hush hush. Well, then once it hit Facebook, like other hunting neighbors of mine released photos, trail cam pics of them and everything. So then Adam got to believe my story because I have proof of it now. Like, look, this is that buck.
I need to see the pictures of this.
Oh yeah, he'll send them to me later, and I'll show you. But I knew that this deer existed because Birch never blinked an eye. When it said take me hunting, he would take me hunting anytime. Let's get off work. Let's go hunting.
No, not today.
When he wouldn't let me, I knew he had something special.
So, you've had great success here in the state of Indiana. Tell us a little bit why you chose, and him and everybody else that goes with you guys. Why did you guys choose to go out of state and try some other states out when it came to deer hunting?
Well, I mean, that's always like, you see all these shows and stuff. And this, honestly, we were doing it before the hunting public even became popular.
Yep.
Like
Right.
this has been a 12-year deal that we've been hunting out of state or so. Well, 10 years, I know for sure in Kentucky.
Just for Kentucky, because we started.
Me and Adam and some different guys went to Missouri at first. And where we went in Missouri, I think I got on there and did all the research, right, Adam? Like,
yeah, absolutely. Because we left that night, and I had no clue where we were going. You were the one that slept all the way, but would wake up and tell me where to turn.
So obviously, I always look for distance, So like Missouri is got a lot of public land. Then when I started looking at the map of Missouri, like the eastern border, it would be closest to us, right? Like as soon as you enter into Missouri, so you're just driving across Illinois, really.
Right.
And I remember like looking at, I was just Google searching, public land, hunting, Missouri, this and that. Well, then, then I started seeing the counties, and then I'm like, okay, well, there was a Pike County, Missouri. And then that stuck into my head because Pike County, Illinois, everybody's all about Pike County, Illinois, the Golden Triangle, all these hunting shows,
Right.
So then Pike County, Missouri is exactly across the river from Pike County, Illinois. Like
around the other side of Illinois River.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would be like Pike County would be like one big Pike County if Missouri and Illinois touched. So then I was like, I wonder how much, public land is in Pike County. That's not bad of a drive. So we click on, I start doing my research on the public lands right there in that area. And sure enough, there was a bunch of them, and they all looked pretty promising on Google Earth, I had.
That's when Google Earth was kind of just starting.
Yeah. I remember I had it printouts, and I had pin marks, like, with I took a pin and was writing, here's a stand location, here's a stand location.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Adam literally drove out there, and I went to like my stand location number 1 that I had marked. He went to stand location number 2 that we had marked, and we were in deer right off the jump. I mean,
we got down there. We got down there that morning because that was when we woke up on Lover's Lane.
Yeah.
Lover's Lookout. Oh my gosh, that's another story too that I'll get in real quick. It was embarrassing as hell, but at the same time, man, it made the hunts. It started from just all the memories it made. It wasn't even all the hunting stories that we remembered. Right. I remember camping in the back of the Explorer because it got so cold that we had to pile back into it because they had record lows. Yeah. We fell in love with it, came back at next weekend. We're like, we got to go back. We brought a couple other guys, and it was record highs, and we're in a tent about to die.
So the first time you went, was it like early bow season, or was it like
November? So theirs comes in, what is it, like September 15th? Yeah, September 15th. And so we got down there the day before in the morning. We actually drove all night. We were supposed to get up in the morning and drive and get down there and scout a little bit.
I know how you work, though. That ain't gonna fly.
But we did. He was at my house, so we could stay there. We get up early, and we just started packing stuff up. And hell, at 12 o'clock at night, we couldn't sleep. This is our first time ever going out of state. So I said, hey, hell with it. Let's drive now. And he said, I'm game. So we took off that night and drove the entire time. And we knew we were close to the park, or to the property we were on hunt, and we found a pull off. We said, hell, we'll just pull in here, take a nap. Gets daylight, we'll find the place and scout. Well, we wake up and we're overlooking the river. It's like a parking place where you take your girlfriend in high school, and me and him's been sleeping in it. So we're like, man, if anybody pulled up and seen us,
windows all fogged up.
So that kind of started that trip. But so we woke up and we went to the place, and man, Missouri has some killer property. Me and Birch was just talking about we'd love to go back there.
I would love to try that with you because I drove what he's talking about, that Pike County area when you cross the river there from Illinois. I drove through that when I went to northwest Missouri this past year turkey hunting, and I was saying the same thing. I'm like, wow, man, this looks real good in here, man.
Yep.
And I bet it would be good deer hunting. It seemed like their population looked good. You can see them out in the field.
So Missouri does something that Indiana doesn't do. Kentucky doesn't do. I don't know if Ohio, we're just naming the states that me and you've hunted, but Missouri actually plants crops and leaves it for them
in their public land areas.
In their public land. And then we found multiple water holes that were dug out by equipment, or and just you don't see it on Google Maps. They're small, but if you find a couple of those, especially in September. So we found a couple spots that we liked. I think you were close to a water hole, but I don't think you were. You were hunting cornfield, wasn't you?
Yeah,
That first evening?
I could tell there was one on Google Earth like behind me. But
Yeah.
I couldn't see it.
So it was the day before opening day, and I had this little camera. Wish I still had it. And I'm sitting there, and I'm not shitting you. I mean, you couldn't make this story up. They're stinking. Here comes a 130s, and I'm like, holy cow, this is awesome. The day before, my bow's, mile and a half back in the truck.
Yeah.
And then here comes another buck, and I'm like, holy shit. It's a 150s, didn't we say? That's about what it was, Birch?
Yep.
A 150s. And they both come to this water hole that I'm sitting like right over. I video the 130 straight through the netting of my stand.
That's awesome.
And the 150's 10 yards, 15 yards away. And they kind of figured out my ground scent right below me, kind of spooked, tried it off, but they didn't really get scared. So I still had hope. So I text him this, and he's like, that's awesome. I've seen like 13 deer. I'm like, holy smokes, dude. It was awesome. Money that year.
Yeah.
So did you guys kill one that year?
We killed, I think you killed a couple does. I killed one doe.
Yeah,
I think that was it.
We both had shot a doe in the first hour of daylight opening morning.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So the population was good, and you saw a lot of deer.
But man, we'd love to go back to it because of the population.
Let's
but
go.
Kentucky used to be the same way. Kentucky, when we first started going there.
In Missouri, when you buy your tag, it was
get turkey tags with it.
It was like 2 deer, like a buck and a doe, or 2 does and like 2 turkey.
And we had opportunity for turkey.
I drew on turkeys out of my stand there too.
I got busted by turkeys. Never drew, but I got busted by them. Yeah, it was man, Missouri was a good time.
Well, that's why I chose Missouri though. Now that I'm thinking back, I was just looking for an opportunity to hunt before October here.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Everybody else is shooting in the yard. You're itching to go. All August, September, you're practicing with your bow in the backyard. You're like, I just want to hunt right now.
Right.
So we figured out Missouri opened early, and we looked up the price of the tag. It was like $200, like $220, $210, or something like that. But it was the archery tag, like bundle or something.
Right.
And we went out there on September 15th, and it was all over deer on that public. I could easily see a big buck getting killed there anytime. I mean, I thought it was a great piece of property, but we hiked deep too, and then we did
back
that.
then. Do you remember we ran into a father son, and we were, I don't know, halfway back. I think they were coming down the big hill. Remember the lane we walked down the big hill? Yeah. And the guy was kind of crappy to me at first. And I was like, what's he? And he's like, what are you guys doing back here? And we're like, we're hunting state property. And he's like, I'm just giving you crap. We've hunted this for years and never seen anybody out here. And I'm like, man, but that's changed. I guarantee you that's changed so much. Public land is blowing up now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So when it came to choosing the property, you just kind of chose something on the east side there that you thought would be closer to home?
Yeah, but all those like, like the Missouri DNR or whatever, like you can get on there and you can do the public research on how many were killed in what public lands. Like a couple of them, remember, Adam, I had like 6 different ones printed off. Yep. A couple of them I was able to eliminate just because I'm looking at the
number of kills.
The number of kills on this public land was like hardly nothing.
Yep.
It looked good on Google Earth, but then when we drove by a few of them and we get there, and what it was like more waterfallish looking stuff, like
wetland.
It was all wetland, so there really wasn't hardly any deer in there like some of the other places,
That's why we've been
tell by the deer kills when you look up, deer kills in the last 5 years, and it shows on there. We don't really do that here in Indiana. Like make you check in that you killed it on Brookville Reservoir.
Right. You just have
what county?
County. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
No, I think that kind of, I'm speaking for you, Birch, but I think that kind of helped you open your eyes to how you research that, because you really flipped the switch when we chose to go to Kentucky.
Yeah.
You were tricking. I mean, you went from county kills, you went to Bone and Crockett kills, you went to, if it's rifle, gun, bow only.
Kentucky DNR website, they have where you can look up. It's almost like graphed out for you, and it's like the counties will be like in orange, and then they turn to red, and then green, like a weather chart or whatever.
Right.
And it says this county has 3,000 plus kills, then it's orange, and then the red counties have 5,000 plus kills, and then like green counties are like 1,000 kills. Like then there's counties in Kentucky where there's hardly any kills. Like it must be city areas and stuff. Obviously, like.
So when you guys, you're talking about switching gears to Kentucky. So
Yep.
how many years did you guys hunt Missouri before you switched to that Kentucky trip?
I think just 2, right, Adam?
Yeah, 2. I went 1 year with a buddy of mine, Jeremy New.
Yep.
We went one, and me and Birch actually started working together. I was on a different shift than him, and I started working with him, and I was like, oh shit, he's big like me. Like we love it. We eat it up. And I started talking to him about Missouri and how I had a blast, and he's like, I'm in. Let's go. And that's when me and you went down there, and we started the 2 years, and man, we've been.
So how did you choose properties on that? Did you, since we're closer to northern Kentucky, is that what you went with, or did you research the same stuff?
So kind of the same thing, except Kentucky, instead of looking, it opened earlier. So then after we hunted a couple of years in Missouri, we're like, well, Kentucky opens even earlier than that. Let's check out what would it take to hunt down there.
Velvet.
We researched the tag size, and it was like $190, I think.
Oh, I think it was. I think it was under 200 when we first started this.
It was 190 when we first started, and then
10 years ago.
But then we had a little bit of a group that wanted to go. We knew it was going to be more than just like 2 of us. It was going to be 4 or 6,
Right.
But then I'm thinking, man, we need to get on. Like, I want to be a part of just killing spree. Like if we're Kentucky 6 deep, I want to be killing 10 deer or something.
Yeah.
Like that. I really wasn't after a trophy buck, I'm just wanting to run an arrow through something.
You're trying to get that, shake the rust off before you're chasing these giants.
Right. Yeah.
And we knew setting in the spots what we were at that you could see a giant. Yeah. But man, we went with the attitude, let's have fun. If one walks in front of us, we're killing it. We're going back to the campground and having a story. And
that's kind of how my Ohio trip turned out to be.
Yeah.
But it's kind of changed a little bit. I mean, we
wasn't really trophy hunting when we first started going down there. Yep. So the way I chose my county in Kentucky was there's like one county that had like a 10-year running most deer kills in the state of Kentucky. So I was like, well, that must mean there is just a boatload of deer running around down there. So we need to go there where we can just slay them, because you get 4 tags a piece when you buy your tag there.
Isn't the tag in Kentucky for non-resident, isn't it like $350 or something?
$375, I think.
$365.
And we started off 10 years ago at $195.
Yeah, so we've been doing it for 10 years. It was
the secret got out.
$190 for about 4 years. Then it went up to $260. It went up $70. So it was like $260, and we paid that for about 3 or 4 years. And then the last couple, it's been $365.
When you look at, the hunting public guys or YouTube in general, or, the Outdoor Channel or Sportsman Channel, you see that now, though. You see all those guys hitting Kentucky early season. Like I noticed when you sent the picture to him of your little beer setup, you had a bow hunting league koozie.
Yep.
And you can see it right off the bat in the numbers that they produce for bow hunting league. I mean, these dudes are killing deer down there. I mean,
right, Kentucky, yep.
I don't think it's a secret anymore. I think people have figured it out.
That's why the prices have went to where they are.
Yeah, they're getting some money out of that.
But back to the research, Birch. Man, people got to do your research, because you know how many places that we looked at and said, man, that looks killer, but we didn't see the numbers.
Well,
and you look at it on Google Map and you're like, it's killer. Birch is like, there's only 3 deer killed in that area. But when you drive there, you see it's a stinking, it's a mountain. You ain't getting up.
Yeah.
And we drove around it multiple times. I mean, you're thinking like I'm thinking, like there's a couple places down there that just look killer. You drive around it and be like, you ain't getting up.
I wish I'd have known that little bit of tidbit, I guess, going into my Ohio trip, because, I started researching all these properties. I wanted to find a place with camping, and I happened to find a place that was free camping, which I think everybody else that researched the same thing I did found the same thing I did, because we get there, there's 27 camping spots in Woodbury Wildlife Area, and all but 3 were taken, and the one camp down from us had about 20 guys. So you could tell that they were and that was just the week that I was there. we talked to a waitress at a steakhouse when we went into town one night to have a decent dinner, and she goes, "Man, you guys missed all the hunters. They were all here last week." So apparently Ohio gets bombarded the first week in November. So if you're playing in Ohio, don't go the first week in November.
When we started Missouri, you said, we did the eastern line of Illinois or Missouri. I'm wondering if Ohio is the same way. Were you central Ohio or were you on the borderline?
I
So
was
like it
kinda
gets
like
more pressure?
Northeast Ohio. Like if you know where Columbus at, it's about an hour northeast of that. And it looked a lot like Kentucky. A lot of rolling hills. You had a little bit of prairie grass. They even had areas, actually the place I killed my buck, on the bottom of it, they planted sunflower fields for dove hunting. It was a dove hunting area.
We sit in a place that's dove hunting, and my gosh, you won't get sleep in that spot. But man, Burch has had success last year. He had success in Kentucky. Is it not your biggest deer? I'm not 100% sure, but
it's my biggest grossing deer.
Okay, but
he grossed 168, but his deductions, knocked him way down, like mid.
But we go by gross. I don't know.
Oh yeah, you go by gross.
We don't go by net.
Well, he has so much trash and extra points, so around his bases and stuff, so it all got deducted as far as net goes. So in the book, he's not my biggest, but overall gross, he is my biggest. Yeah.
Now, I mean, we introduced, and you guys know I know Burch a long time. Correct me if I'm wrong. So you're saying you finally beat your son's buck?
That's
or
correct.
Is it still bigger?
Yeah. No, my Kentucky buck does beat him out by like an inch, I think.
So you have one buck bigger than your boy's first buck.
Yes,
officially.
Which in the book, I can always show my son even before when he killed it. My real wide buck.
That's the one I killed I killed my buck in Kentucky. We put in the middle of yours, and mine looked like a dink when we put it in the middle of yours.
Yeah, is that the one that I had the picture of?
Yeah,
because that's if you're listening or watching, that's the thumbnail that'll be on the picture on YouTube is the buck he's talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, the wide one nets higher than Jacob's, but Jacob's grossed 167.
Oh shit! So it was close.
Yeah. That's a hell of a first deer.
Yeah. 11-year-old with a crossbow at 20.
I mean, we could talk for hours. I don't. So we're at 32 minutes.
I'll keep talking. About
tell the story about Jacob's buck, man, because you prepared him of saying big buck, just messing with him, but at the same time, you kind of want to see how he reacted.
Right. Yeah.
I remember you telling me the story, and actually,
that was part of my coaching, like a dad thing in the stand. I'd always be like, "What are we gonna do?" I would go through scenarios with him all the time.
Yep.
What are we going to do with this? What if I say big buck, don't move, don't whip your head around and look, like I'll tell you when to move your head, like, or whatever. So just coaching kind of, as a dad and sitting in the buddy stand with your son. So we get to the stand that day. Well, the real part of the story, I shot a big buck. Oh, that was the big buck I had shot on Sunday of gun season. Like, so Sunday morning of gun, opening weekend.
Is the wide buck?
No, it was a different buck, okay. Like the one over here.
Gotcha.
Right there.
Still a stud.
So I shot him. I shot him on Sunday morning a gun. He's, 145-ish or whatever. Nice buck. I forget what he field dressed. It was around 200, probably 190 something or something. And I go get Jacob. He's 11 now, so I always take the big bucks home, let my wife see it, kids see it.
Absolutely.
And the boys were kind of into it then at that age. So, but they ain't gonna get up and go when there's frost on the ground and it's 26 degrees that morning. So Jacob's like, I want to ride with you to take it to the processing place. So I said, okay. Well, he hops in, and we're going down. On the way to the processing place, I kind of took the long way, went by my other woods. It's opening weekend to gun. I just want to see
drive the block,
see if my hunting neighbors are out, like see if I can see orange across the road from my spot. Like, wonder if those guys are out, just driving by. And we go down through there, and where I park at the woods, and there was a buck I was after that year on my trail cams. I was calling him the Big Nine. I had like 5 encounters with him. He was a giant.
That's when he ran in front of you, isn't it? I remember.
Yeah. So like where I parked to hunt that woods, I'm driving down through. There's a doe standing there where the tall grass is matted down where I parked my truck. And I pull up there. There's a doe. Jacob's on the passenger side of my truck, closer to the doe. He rolls the window down, doe's at 10 yards, and we're on the county road there. And I was like, "That's cool, huh, Jacob?" And he's going to get his phone out, and take a picture of the doe because she's still just standing there staring at us. About that time, Big 9 jumps out of the thicket right there and hops up into the matted down where I parked my truck with the doe. And then I'm like, I'm fumbling for my phone now. Like, and then I got a perfect picture of him leaping the county road.
I remember.
It is like it's an awesome picture. You can see the hood of my truck, and he just leaping right over the hood of my truck. It was a pretty sweet picture.
Mm-hmm.
Then Jacob, we go on to the buck stop, we're at the processing place, and he says, "You can only kill one buck, can't you, Dad?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I kind of want to go hunting now."
A light bulb went off in his head.
I'm thinking, I bet you do after seeing the Big 9 right there. It's like, I want to go hunting again. So I remember I went. So that was Sunday. We didn't hunt Sunday night. By the time I took my pictures, took the deer in, I was done for. And and a lot of times when I kill these big deer in November, you got to think I'm on a 25-day straight hunting, cycle. Like I haven't missed a day in 20 days.
I hear you.
Yep, and he's used plenty of sick days to make it happen. I promise you.
I mean, even if I did work that day, then I hunted the evening.
Absolutely. You don't miss them.
Birthday party on a Saturday, then I hunted the morning and went to the birthday party of the evening. But I did not miss. I was in the woods at least
at some point in the day.
One sit, at least one of the two sits possible in a day. I was in the woods every time, and so Sunday I took it off. Then Monday I had something going on. And then I think it was Tuesday, maybe, I texted Jacob and I said, "Hey, when you get out of school today, we'll go hunting." Because, he's texting me on the bus Monday, like, "Let's go today when I get home." I was like, "No, I can't. I got something going on." Then Tuesday, finally, I was like, "Okay, let's go." So I had his camos laid out for him on the couch. He gets off the bus. His bus route doesn't drop him off till 4:00.
Oh,
this is first week of gun season, so you got to think this is after.
So you only got like an hour left.
Right. So he gets off the bus at 4. I got his camos laid out. He gets in his camos. I was already ready. My hunting spot's 10 minutes from the house. We get there. We walk across the field, climb up in the tree. I remember pulling the crossbow up. First I buckled him in, safety harness. I buckled me in, pull the crossbow up. And I take the quiver off the crossbow, loading the bolt, and the rage is kind of messed up. So I took the rage off, fixed the blades, put it back on. I'm still standing up. He's sitting there fiddling around or whatever. I'm loading the bolt finally after I fixed the rage. And I look over and here's the 167-inch deer coming on the edge. I was like, "Oh, wow." I was like, I elbowed him like, "Jacob, big buck right here. Get ready." So I hand him the crossbow, and he's looking at me like, "Is this just like, one of the what
practice run?
Like, what do we do if this like a scenario play out here or whatever?" And he keeps looking at me, and I'm like, look there, like, "Here he comes, get ready." And that deer walked straight into his crosshairs and looked the other way, like opened up the side right.
Oh yeah,
20 yards, and I'm like, "Jacob, shoot." So then I heard I helped him, I pushed down the safety,
mm-hmm.
and he pulled the trigger, and he just drilled the thing, and it went down on video, and I didn't have time to have my phone out. I haven't even sat down yet. It's 4:27. He got off the bus at 4.
And that's what's crazy
10-minute drive
is you still remember the time, and I'm betting you're 100% accurate with a 4:27.
Right, yeah.
It's amazing when your kid kills a deer. I mean, it don't have to be who kills a 167 or whatever it was. First deer. But it could have been a doe, and I guarantee you, as a dad, you still remember, all of it. Yep.
So I videoed him. I instantly got my phone out before I even spoke to him. I get my phone out, whip it out, and I put it on, and I'm like, what'd you think of that? And he's like shaking and he can't even speak. He's got the teary voice. It was pretty epic. It's on It's on YouTube. Actually.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I haven't had a
check that
chance to
out.
show Brett it, but
like
man,
a little 1 minute 20 clip or something.
and I know. So I've asked for this, what your YouTube page was for that or whatever the address for.
Yeah.
And I know I've shown multiple people. I don't think I've showed Brett, but I know it sends chills down your back just to watch this kid, how excited he was.
Yeah.
But later on, I found out the bullshit that Birch went through. There's people posting all kinds of like hateful stuff, and we've had a conversation.
So many negative comments
about the negative stuff.
Was it on Facebook?
No, it was YouTube that people were blowing up.
Oh, really? Damn.
Yeah.
Wasn't it, Birch? Wasn't it YouTube that people were commenting?
Some of the comments on there were like, way to teach your kid to kill things at a young age. And like,
normally you get those kind of comments on Facebook, it being on YouTube. Normally people that see it are like searching that type of thing. You know what I mean?
Acting like I'm training my son to be a
murderer,
assassin
or something because I got him killing a deer at 11 years old with a crossbow.
Yeah, I mean, it was some shitty stuff. And that's another subject. Like, I think we've talked over it a few times, Birch, but man, one of these days we'll have to get you on about like, you see the post, the guy from West Virginia,
Troy Delaney, and I know he'll be listening.
Troy and Troy started off when he said, "I hate seeing posts by saying he's not the biggest, but like people already feel so bad that they have to say that, and I don't know, and that just
I can only if you like explain to that to like your great grandpa or whoever, back in the day, back when hunting, only if you dudes did it or whatever, they would probably laugh at somebody saying something like that. But now it's like with the hunting industry and all these shows and stuff like that, people feel like they have to shoot a 160 for them to be successful, but that doesn't have to be that way. You could shoot a little spike if you want to, and it'd be the happiest day of your life. You know what I mean?
And you remember you shot it at 427,
right?
Yeah, I shot. So like I always put in for the draw hunts, and then even my Kentucky. Yeah, I shot a 168 in Kentucky, but like that's not what I was there for.
Right? You were there to have fun.
I was there to go back to being 16 and 18, 19, where when I see deer legs coming through the woods, I'm getting my bow in my hand.
Oh, absolutely.
You're getting ready.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, and do you not? I mean, I do. Your wall looks a little better than mine, but I still like if I see a deer coming to Kentucky, you bet your ass I'm going to shake a little bit. Because I know I'm shooting, but if I see a little rack, I'm kind of laughing at the same time.
Right? Yeah, your heart is beating in Kentucky.
Yes,
even when it's like a doe, and you're sitting there with your bow in your hand, and she hasn't given you the shot yet. You're clipped on, but you haven't drawn yet.
Yep.
It's the same adrenaline as if it's a 160 standing.
Absolutely,
right? Because you're about to launch an arrow at this deer, and you used to have this. It's the same.
Going back to this public land stuff a little bit in your Kentucky and Missouri and all that, I actually have a question from a regular listener, Adam Bowles. He has his own podcast too, Hunt the Wild. He sent me a question for you. What do you use for a setup when you're on public land? You use a climber, or you use a lock-on with sticks, or you use a saddle? What is it that you're using?
Yeah, I just use the Summit. And, I have the Summit, and then I have the ratchet strap kind of deal that comes with the Summit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess it's supposed to wrap your stand to the tree, but I never do that. But I strap my backpack in with that thing, and it makes the Summit's obviously a little heavier than these guys' saddle setups. And but I have my backpack, and like I'm so comfortable in that Summit. Like I feel good in it. Like I'm good at climbing with it. I went 10 years, all my local spots where I've killed a lot of these deer out of my Summit, even at my local spots, because I just never bought stands and I always believed.
I'd go hunt his places, and I'm like, this place is a killer. Why don't you have lock-ons? Why don't you have ladder stands?
Yeah.
Never did. He always hunted from it. But then now it's changed. You start doing setups for your kids and everything else.
Yeah.
And it's all preference too. Like I was actually having this conversation with a coworker of mine. His son, I think he's 13 or 14 years old, interested in getting into hunting. So he's, we're working with each other all day. So he's picking my brain, and he was asking me kind of the same question. Well, what do you use? I need to buy us, stands or ladder stands and this and that. I said, everybody's got their own preference, but just find something that you're comfortable with. Maybe buy a couple of lock-ons with some sticks, buy a ladder stand, buy a climber. You might like hunting off the ground, people, that kind of thing. It all can be a personal preference, but it's kind of cool to, hear your setup since you guys have been so successful down there.
Yeah. That was one of my thoughts. I always felt like with my climber, even at my local spots, I would bounce around the woods with my climber.
Deer don't figure you out.
So deer never really could figure me out, because if they busted me in one tree, well, I never really. It's not like I went and hunted the same tree religiously,
Right?
Like the spot where I seen the 250s. I had hunted that tree a handful of times and knew it was a good spot, but I switched it up that night and I just bounce all around the woods with my climber. That's what I used to do. I didn't have any stands in any of my woods. I would just go in there with my climber and hop around the woods. So when we were hunting public land, it was so I'm a big guy, so I can carry that. The summit on my back has never been like, I can't do this anymore or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It just gets a little sweaty.
Now, we've seen it, man. I mean, as many years as we've been hunting out of state, is we've got to witness to where we ran into a lot of people started hunting lone wolf climbers, right? You remember that?
What, the sit and climb one?
No, the legit climbers that packed up to it was nothing on their back. We're like, dang, these things are badass. And we looked them up. They're $400, but everybody in Kentucky started using those. Well, then we stuck true with the summits, man. We're still doing fine with them. We're still hiking as far as anybody else, but we're a little younger. Then now we're seeing a new trend. It's
the saddles. I want to try it out. Honestly, I want to get a setup.
I think a lot of people do want to try the saddles. I mean, it's less the pack in. I kind of experienced it this year without the saddle. I took the sticks with a lock on, and it's still nice, but man, I don't know.
It's a little bit more work, you probably putting the same amount of work in when you're using your climber, right? You have to practice it multiple times before you go there. I practiced climbing a couple of trees. I sent the guys that would go. I sent them pictures of me with because you have to have the linesman line on. I had it. I sent the pictures, but you have to prepare for it because with the sticks, if you don't have them clipped on, you're climbing down to get another one.
Yeah,
right.
And so it was almost more work for me. I enjoyed it. I liked having it there. I wish I could have found a spot where I could have left it. I mean, the climbers, you leave them, someone could take them.
Right, absolutely.
The lock-on setup I had was the plans were I take 2 sticks with me. No one can get to it. I can leave it and come back. I'm not hiking. Unless they have a climber. Well, then they got more shit to carry out.
Right.
But the plans. But I never fell in love with the spot I hunted this year. I mean, this year was kind of tough for me. I still killed a deer, but it wasn't the Birch spot. Like the trick when we go to Kentucky and hunt is you got to be 60 yards from Birch because he's gonna have deer unless you're Randy Kincaid and you hunt the wrong side.
Well, like on most people, if they get a chance to go hunt out of state on some public land, most of the time they're only getting to go. Maybe they got some vacation days or something. You guys go back like multiple times. Yeah. Right?
So we started that probably 4 years of doing it, maybe.
Yeah, because we always went there. So the first 5-6 years we only went on Labor Day.
Right.
September. Most of the time it's 90 degrees.
Yeah, that's
your activity is not peaking then,
you're not supposed to be at the campsite drinking a lot of beer, eating steaks because we bring the buffet. Yeah. Our buddy Butcher hooks us up with some good steaks and all that. And we still lose weight because it's so hot. You think we'd gain weight as much beer as we drink and as much food as we eat.
Go into the stand in shorts and Crocs on.
The best is when our buddy brought frog legs. We had his beef steaks. And he raises cattle and he brought some steaks down there. And then he threw some frog legs out there. He had alligator one time too.
He had killed that alligator.
And that was right after it was after September. He actually got back from Kentucky. And I don't know. We have to get Clint on here sometime and talk. But it was like that next weekend. He flew to Florida to stinking alligator hunt and sent us pictures of an alligator chopped on his hand. And he had to all bandage up, but he killed 2 of them. He actually got one. I think he got both of them. He got a full body mount on one and another one just a hide mount.
Yeah, he's got a full body mount. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually in the process of putting together a hunting out actually for just a little bit after New Year's, but I've had him on before. Antonio Marsh, he's from South Carolina. I met him on my honeymoon, and he's a part of this big hunt club down in South Carolina. I guess that's a big thing down in the South. But nobody wants to shoot these hogs, and they have problems with them down in this hunt club. I said, I'll come down and shoot some. And so they're setting it all up. Him and the hunt club president, they're setting all these stands up for me. And I'm like, I'm coming down smoking some hogs on video.
Yeah. We actually, man, that's a good.
Yeah, there's another story.
There's no, I mean, you speak and we can say stories.
Yeah. On the Kentucky public land that we chose, so when I chose the Kentucky public land, I was looking for numbers only, not big bucks, right? Mm-hmm. So Owen County, Kentucky had 5,000 deer a year killed or whatever. So I was like, man, is there any public land in Owen County? Well, sure enough, there's like 4 or 5 spots. I print them all out. We drive down there. And I think the first year we left here at 2:00 in the morning, got there before daylight, went in blind in the dark with Google Earth Maps. That's all we had. We'd never stepped up.
And I don't know if it was on our phone. I think it was it maps that we just had? No, you had them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just printed the maps. We didn't have them on our phone.
And we went down there and was on deer right away. Yeah. But then, we hunted a little bit of all of them that first couple of years and killed deer every time. I mean, we've been down there with 4 of us and killed 8 deer in 3 days in September.
Yep.
And then we started hunting this one where me and Adam have both killed our big ones at, and there was hog. We kept running into locals in the parking lots there on the public, and they're like, "There's hogs in here. There's hogs in here." We're like, "No, there ain't."
We've hunted this for a few years. You guys are full of crap.
And sure enough, one of the years we were there, like one of the guys says, Randy, he was like, I just missed a pig. And I was like big buck or oink, oink,
Hey, yeah. Before that, though, the year before, me and Randy were hunting a ridge, and it was right before daylight. We hear one just bust out hollering like it hit an electric fence. And we're like, holy shit, they really are here. But none of us seen them. Then go back to Randy's missed a pig. Randy
missed a pig, and I'm texting like oink oink or like big buck pig, because like a pig could be like a giant.
The giant. That's what that's what I thought. I think that's what most of us thought when he sent that text out.
And then he texts us back and said oink oink. Well, then that whole evening I kept hearing I thought the sound was deer blowing, but it was not loud enough to be a deer blowing, because it sounded fairly close. And then as the evening progressed, here comes 12 hogs down the trail. And the sound that I had been hearing, thinking it was deer blowing, was the hogs inhaling like brush. They were eating on all the it was crazy. And then I shot and missed twice that evening, which it was right at dark, last minute of shooting light, and I missed 2 times at 2 different hogs. I ended up killing one that year, but I think we all killed that year.
Yep. I think Butcher even shot one, didn't he?
Yeah.
But let's get back to Randy's story. We got to get this public. So he said he screwed up on a pig, right? Wasn't that what his text said? So you know where I'm going with this. This is pretty comical. So he's like, I missed a pig, and we're like, what? Big buck, what? And he says, no, a pig, like oink oink. Well, then later on, they circle back and he shot one. And so we're like, hell yeah.
He was jacked like he shot at 190.
Oh, all of us were. I mean, that's the first encounter with a wild pig that we've ever killed.
I've never had an encounter.
I shot one and turned into a schoolgirl. I'll tell you that story here in a second. But Randy come back to the truck, and we're all talking about, hey, we just killed pigs. I mean, how do you hunt this place for years and not see one? The year before we hear one, then all of a sudden we just blew up and we all killed them. It was just a blessing. It was a blast. So we get back to the truck, and Randy starts telling us about what happened at first when these pigs started coming into him. He comes to full draw this way, and before he can bring it down, he don't know what he did, but he hit the trigger, and that arrow may have not landed yet. But we're like, no. And he's like, I screwed up by doing that. I hit the trigger on the release and launched an arrow. And he said, all I could hear was flinging through the trees. The pigs took off. I mean, he was heartbroken like no other. But hell, at this time I was sweating so bad. He said pigs, and I started throwing M&Ms, food to the side. I'm like, let's get the scent in here. We changed the game up to try killing pigs, but then so Randy ended up shooting one. I can't remember how many of us shot one that evening. I think I don't know if I shot mine that evening the same time Randy did or what, but
I shot mine the second evening.
I may have shot mine when Randy. Yeah, I shot mine the same time Randy did because they were working their way back from that horseshoe. Because I was right down the ravine that we shoot across now is the shortcut. And
when I shot mine too, there was 19 of them, and I shot the lead one, and she had. It was like Mama, she had
sagging
the
boobies.
Oh yeah, sagging boobies. Like she had a fresh litter or something, and she was the lead one, and I smoked her at 19 yards. And I remember I was blood trailing her. I had gotten down because it was early in the evening, and I was like, I'm gonna go get this pig. Like I was pumped. Like I don't care about wasting the rest of the evening. I go get her, and I'm blood trailing, and then I start to get a little scared. Like, man, these are they're supposed to be kind of dangerous, right? Like, you're not supposed to be walking up on them.
You're helping my story, by the way.
Yeah, so, I've already heard this, so I know where it's going.
Yeah, and I walk up, and mine's like not dead yet in this brush pile, like 5 feet from me, and I'm like, uh-oh. I don't have my bow. Like, I left it like back there, or whatever. I forget what happened, but I ended up like having to go back and get my bow, and then I came back to where she was, and she had crawled out of there and was like a little further, but she had expired while I'd walked back to get my bow.
You got lucky.
I drag her back to the tree and took some pictures and climbed back up the tree. So like my dead pig is like laying at the base of my tree, and I don't know what to do with it. I'd never killed one before, like.
How the hell we do? Yep.
Yeah. So at the end of the hunt, I took it to the truck and we took the loins out, and we really didn't know what we were doing, other than they were legal game to kill. I think like
all you had to have was a hunting license.
Off of it.
So they're considered a nuisance there. So all you have to have is a hunting license to hunt them.
That's
you
how
don't
it
have
is.
to have anything else. It's just basically like a coyote here.
Really.
So that's what I'm running into with this South Carolina thing, because I told him, man, I really don't want to do this. I've already done 3 other trips this year. I don't want to spend a whole lot of money. Their family is really nice. They have a mansion, so to speak, down there. I said, I don't really want to spend a whole bunch of money, man. So send me the DNR stuff and I'll look it up. I can buy a 3 or 4 day license for like $40. And that's all I need to shoot.
No,
hogs.
that's weird because usually you can do like 3-day fishing license. There's not too many states that do that I'm aware of. Actually, that's the only one I'm aware of.
Because most of them, if you do like I think even Tennessee, I can't remember. There's a couple states.
That's another state I want to try because Tennessee, you can kill $2.
But like you can do the 1 day, the 3 day, the 10 day, but like it excludes everything: the deer, the waterfowl, the turkey, all the shit that you want to hunt. This is basically small game or coyotes. But this place, I can shoot hogs for $40 for 3 days. So I'm gonna let the arrow fly.
I know a lot of states have the 3-day hunting thing, but it excludes deer and turkey. So.
Oh yeah,
right. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's what we need to do. But so back to my hog story. So Randy shoots his, and I'm like, hell yeah, we got a pig down. Shoot, we're cooking this thing up because then we would be drinking beer, cooking it up as we're taking the meat off of it. Like it'd be hanging from a tree. Clint would be cutting it up and handing me the back straps, and I'm on the grill already, and it's going straight. It's going straight from the tree, hanging from the tree to the grill, and we're throwing seasoning on it. This thing
that's awesome.
You can't get any fresher.
And that's what I want for not to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that's what I want for this coming season, like 2022. I want to have a deer camp. I've never really got to experience deer camp.
I think me and Birch maybe will make it happen.
Let's do. I don't care if it's public land. I don't care if we set up a fucking camper in the driveway. I want to have deer camp somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a real blast. But man, people think it's and he got to experience a little bit this year in Ohio. Like people think, oh, it's gonna be a blast. It's a good time. Boys, buckle up. You get your ass
get
kicked.
ready, but
do we not, Birch? Like we hike, we hike and hike. If someone kills one, we have to go through the process of dragging it out, cutting it up. Before you know it, you get back. We're 40 minutes from the campsite, so you drive back to there. Guess what?
It's 1 o'clock in the morning.
The wife ain't there to make dinner, so we have to make food. I mean, we talk about like, oh, we're gonna drink some beer to celebrate. We drink 2 beers and we're ready for bed.
I don't blame you.
I think this timer must be wrong.
What's that?
It's showing 59 for us.
Oh, okay. It says an hour and 59 here.
No, it says 59 for us.
You're like,
Damn,
like, man,
2
there's
hours.
no way.
Well, that's like the podcast we did with the Troy Delaney, like we were talking about. We'd been drinking, which he'd been drinking, and it was kind of fun because it was just kind of one of those shows where we bullshitted. Next thing you know, we look up, I was like, damn, we've been on for 2 hours, man. We got to get off here.
Yeah. I watched it all yesterday, actually.
Yeah, he told me that you went through and watched a bunch of the shows, and I appreciate just the support, man, really.
Yeah, I watched a few of them. I wanted to know what I was getting into. Well, and I was under the impression I was coming to you guys because I had watched Jesse Posey's, I think.
Yep.
The one I had seen like last year, maybe.
Yep. I think it was. He had
were there, maybe, but it was like Moonlighting Outdoors or something.
Yeah.
That's Justin's deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, I had watched Jesse Posey.
Right. I get what you're saying.
But he was there for that podcast,
live in studio.
Yeah, he was live in studio, so that's what I was under the impression. And I mean, you guys are just so far for me. Like I joke with these guys, we do the Kentucky thing, and that's south. So, Randy, Adam, Clint, they're all like right over there in that area, and they're like, just be in my driveway at 3 a.m. and we'll leave. I'm like, oh, sure. Yeah, I'm only an hour north, so I'll get up at 1:15 and get ready. And
might as well not even go to bed.
Yeah.
I told them that if we ever change it up, we're going to Michigan. So that way they can park in my driveway. I'm getting the extra hours.
Hey, it's funny you say that. I had a conversation with 2 different people today. I'm trying to get like a deer camp put together for next year, for 2022. And Michigan actually came up. So UP, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, like 80% of this place is public land. Yeah. So you can kind of like go wherever for the most part. I mean, most of it you can public land. And we found this place. It's a monster cabin, full bar, pool table, sleeps 10 with bunk beds, living room, washer, dryer, the whole setup for $300 a night. So if you get 5 guys to go for 5 days, that's $300 a person. Yeah. That's not that bad. And the license was only like $140 or something like that.
Is that what it is for Michigan?
But Michigan, their rut and stuff is going to hit a lot earlier. A mid-October hunt there would be like a late October hunt here, which I think it would be a blast.
And for some reason, I need to hunt it. I need to hunt Michigan because Michigan Birch does research. Michigan's #1 state at deer kill. Am I wrong, Birch? It's usually
I thought it was Wisconsin.
It's usually top 3 with the amount of deer kill.
Yeah, it's got a huge population. They just don't really have quality.
The quality of deer has never been there.
Right.
So, but I don't know, with the number of deer kill there, I don't know. I've always been like, I don't think they have the giants. But if we go back to how we used to do it, it's for fun.
Yeah, that's all I want.
Man, we can go there and slay them. That would be a blast.
That's what I still consider Kentucky that,
Yeah.
This year I shot a 100-inch buck in Kentucky.
Can you get more?
Like I shot a buck in Kentucky this year, but he was a 100-inch buck. Like,
well, I've admitted it on the last couple of podcasts I've done.
I'll step out for this one.
I went to Ohio, and I don't have a huge personal background with public land hunting, so it opened my eyes to a whole new thing. I'm not used to that sort of thing, and I got down to having 2 days left, and I was like, I'm kind of like your Kentucky trip. Next thing it walks through this woods is getting smoked because I haven't seen anything. I got guys running through the woods with crossbows. I mean, I've had so many stories with this Ohio trip, and I shot a little 6-pointer, probably like the smallest deer I've ever shot in my life. Is a little bit like a little bitty basket rack, but it was one of the hardest deer I've ever earned in my life.
Yeah,
and I didn't even get to keep anything off of it because the coyotes tore it to shreds before I could even do anything with it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, cool. We got back to the truck and then went back in there and it looked like a pack of wolves hit it when I come back. Split in half, fur everywhere. I mean, it was pretty raunchy, really.
Well, my 168 from Kentucky, I shot him at 3:30 in the afternoon and didn't start looking for him until 5:30. Found him. He only went about 80 yards. There was 15 turkey buzzards on them. They had eaten They had eaten his asshole out, and they had eaten both back hams off of him within the 2 hours that I'd shot him.
You know, we've talked a lot about, you know, these public land trips that you guys have taken and stuff. I want to talk to you a little bit. I don't want to get too deep into it, like I said, because I want to have you back on. Definitely want to have you back on before turkey season. But tips and tactics a little bit. Like, are you a big scent control guy, or how does that work?
I mean, I'm not really, you know, and I say this all the time to people. Always say, like, you know, what's your big secret? You know, what are you doing? Obviously, I have great places to hunt. You know, that definitely plays a role. You know, I'm pretty fortunate. The places that I have permission to hunt, you know, they seem to have a lot of deer coming through them. None of my places hold deer though. Every one of my places are pass through. You know,
most of your places, the woods are the most 10 acres?
Yeah. So they're all pass through places, right? And knowing that, my tactic has always been be there as much as possible. You know what I mean? Like
right.
put myself there. And now trail cams are coming along, and they're proving what I've always said is, like, the deer are only here, and there.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be here when they're here. That's the only way you're ever gonna be successful. And we're not living in. You know, you see these guys on TV in Iowa and Kansas. They're hunting 1,200 acre pieces. You know, they can pass deer and pattern deer, and we can't do that around here. These deer aren't doing that.
I mean, a great example is how many bucks you got on your wall behind you, Birch?
I have 13 mounted.
Okay. How many of them have you killed that you've had trail cam pictures of?
Probably only 4 or 5, maybe.
That's the difference between hunting small areas.
Yeah.
You're like you said, you're putting yourself in the right time frame to be in there. You're logging the hours. You're chasing bucks on your camera, and then you may get lucky with a buck chasing a doe, or maybe he's just traveling through the area that day. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, these 1,200 acres, they're showing you trail cameras, and I got 70 pictures of this buck I killed here. You can't do that with 10 acres or 15 acre, 20 acres.
And the other on these TV shows, they're hunting states where baiting's legal.
Yep, that's a big key.
If baiting was legal here in Indiana, I'd have a lot more big bucks. Than I would.
Because your trail cameras blow up.
I don't think I want it in Indiana. I want it.
I don't want it either. But I'm just saying that here in Indiana, we're not hunting the big track. We're hunting the tiny track. They're
fence rows,
woodlot to woodlot to woodlot to woodlot. So you just had to put yourself there. And I'm fortunate enough that my wife and my family, my lifestyle has allowed me to hunt like I hunt, you know. This year, I shot my big buck on November 6th. And if I was doing the math right, I think I may have only not hunted 4 days where I didn't at least sit a morning or evening sit from October 1st to November 6th.
Well, the Saturday before that or was it 2 Saturdays before that, is when you shot one, right? But you couldn't recover it.
Oh, he brought that up.
Oh, I was just asking. I'm not making fun of him. I just want to hear the story.
No, it's a tradition.
So as a bow hunter, I mean,
it happened.
I hate it, but I've had multiple giants where I've stuck one and not found it. You know, and it's sickening. Adam was on the track. I mean, I called these guys in. I thought we were finding a 150. This was a 150-inch 8-pointer. He was a giant.
He was
that's a giant.
I've seen trail cams. I mean, for an 8, this thing was mega buck.
He was a mega 8, and he was the buck I had the most trail cam pics of. I had multiple encounters with this dude, and he was the only deer I was going to shoot at that place. And then I'd seen him multiple times and just couldn't get him to come in, you know, into bow range. And then that particular hunt, I'm sitting there, and just everything was not working in my favor that weekend. The wife wanted to go to Jacob's Orchard. We're there at Jacob's Orchard that Saturday, which she plans. My wife's great. She plans it at noon, right? We're going to Jacob's Orchard at noon. Guess where I was up till noon? I was hunting. Right. I came home at 10:30, 11, took a shower. We go to Jacob's Orchard. Then, we're there with another family couple that we know, and their kids, and then they're like, let's all go eat 1,000-degree pizza, and I'm like, okay, but let's.
I'm going to the woods.
Yeah, we need to hurry this
up. I got a date, So we hurried up, and we're at 1,000-degree wasn't on the same hurry up schedule that I was.
1,000-degree is good though.
Yeah, it's good. So we're there, we're having a good time, but I'm sitting there just like, I need to get to the woods, like
pacing back and forth.
Yeah. So when we finally get out there, I get to the woods. I'm going to the woods at like 5:10.
Actually, you sent a text message that day, didn't you?
Yeah.
To Randy or something?
I feel like I went in, or I called Randy on my
Called
way.
Randy, and he's like, "You're going in right now," and he said,
like, "You going hunting right now? It's 5:00." I was like, "Well, I mean, this is before the time change. This is like it's like October 18th, 19th, something like that." And he's like, "You can't be going in this late." And I was like, "Dude, it only takes 1 minute, 5 minutes to all go down."
Absolutely.
So you need to be there. That's always been my secret. More than scent control, more than moon phase, more than it's too windy, too rainy, too cold, too hot. I don't pay attention to any of that. Now, don't get me wrong. I do believe deer smell. Like, obviously, you want to be strategic of what stand you sit in based on the wind. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't believe in the ozone. Like a lot of the stuff, like I don't think ozonics is gonna. If the deer's coming in from downwind to you, even if you got ozonics, even if you sprayed down with fresh earth, you got fresh earth wafers hanging on you, you got coon piss on your boots, whatever it is. I think the deer is still going to blow and take off. You know what I mean? Yep. If he's coming in from downwind, I don't think there's the only tactic can be hunt the right stand for what the wind is.
Right.
That's your own. No matter how scent control safe you are, I don't think there's a way around it.
Right.
They smell something funny, fishy, they're gone. And
yep.
I'm a believer in that for sure, but I don't really.
I just try to do as much as I possibly can to maybe stack the odds on my side a little bit, since I know that their nose is so strong. And I've even, like, I would say this year, one of my biggest lessons that I've learned personally is not to take that so serious. Like, you can ask Adam, my clothes don't even come out of my bag until we get parked and I get my stuff on to go, Now he's picking me up to go hunting and I'm already fully dressed.
I'm kind of getting him trained.
He's getting me trained up a little bit. Which
he's flinging skull on you and stuff.
Absolutely. Oh, we got to stop at the gas station.
Or he's got to get down and take a poo.
That does happen a lot.
Sure. So like I just think that like my secret is I just hunt more than everybody else based on my lifestyle, my family, my wife allows it. Like, she lets me go like crazy.
Well, it's hard to stop somebody
she knows hunting just drives me nuts, and I just want to go. But then I shot that. So October, me and Adam and Randy and Clint was in Kentucky on the Halloween, and we were there again on November 5th. Well, Adam didn't go. He was
sick day.
Huh?
I used a sick day.
Yeah, he used a sick day on our pre-scheduled events, but me and Randy still went. I had shot a buck. I shot a doe. And it was cool. Me and Randy.
Oh, yeah, this is a cool story.
Me and Randy met this guy in the parking lot there on November 5th. Only me and Randy went back on the 5th, which was a Friday. That's a big buck anniversary.
Yeah, you killed 2 or 3 bucks on the 5th
of
November.
I've killed 3 bucks on November 5th, including the 168 from Kentucky last year was on November 5th.
That's awesome.
So that's my day, and that was my day here already. Like, the one sitting in the middle right here was a November 5th kill. One of the ones back here was a November 5th kill. And then I would have had it done back. Remember that, Adam? I killed those 2.
You had talked about this day.
He
was talking about this day for a long time. Yeah. This day was special to him.
November 5th.
The third year, wasn't it? The third year, he's like, November 5th. I think he took the day off of work. He's like, it's going to happen
next year.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then he's in the stand, and I get a text from him, and you can go from there.
Yeah. I 2009, I shot a mid 130s, 135 Pope and Young out of my. That's when I didn't have stands too.
Yep,
so
it was a climber.
Then November 5th of 2010, I shot the one dead center right here. He's mid 150s, 10, just a perfect clean 10. I shot him on November 5th out of the same tree in my climber again. I didn't even have stand up. I was in my climber, but just climbed the same tree that I had done the November 5th before. Then 2011, November 5th rolls around. I put myself in that exact same tree again and had a 140s chase a doe by me 8 times. But the doe would stop at like in bow range, and the buck would stop like 60, 70 yards back, catching his breath, tongue hanging out of his mouth and everything. Right. Yeah. And I could never get a shot at him. But like it legit about went down 3 years in a row out of the same tree, Pope and Young, 130, 140, 150 kind of deer out of the same tree in the same woods that, like 3 years in a row.
That's awesome. I love hearing those kind of stories. So this coming year, 2022, I'm going for the three-peat. I've killed on the same day, October 27th, 2 years in a row. Right. I'm going for the three-peat, which it'd have to be something pretty decent for me to shoot it because I'm tired of hearing him tell me that I can't shoot big bucks and all this.
I'm pulling the Randy Kincaid on him and stuff.
Can't shoot the big ones if you shoot the small ones.
You're giving him the Cody Hollingsworth treatment.
My gosh, yeah. So we have a guy from work that, man, every year, Birch gets trail cams with giants. I mean, it's a given. He's going to show us 15 shooters, and we're like, what the hell?
Right.
But Cody's the same way. Then he hunts like Birch does. October 1st, that dude's in the woods all the time, isn't he?
Yeah.
He hunts like a madman, but he gets so impatient and shoots like a 115 every year. And you're like, dude, quit showing us these giants if you're going to shoot this.
And then he'll take buddies and they shoot the 168.
Right.
They do every year too.
Yeah.
But I give it to him. This year he's been patient. He's had opportunities. He did have an opportunity.
He wounded a 150.
Yeah, but he's still holding out. He's not that guy. We've broke him from being that guy. Well, it's the end of the year. I just shot him. He's just we've broke him for saying, well, that guy that you passed now is going to be a good one now.
I chalk it up to I wasn't really behind my bow that much. So I think I just got excited in the moment. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't change anything. I would do the exact same thing that I did because I just had fun. Like you're talking about going to Kentucky and, that adrenaline gets you going. And I was jacked up, and this, he might score 110, maybe.
Every deer I've killed in Kentucky has been awesome. So,
thanks, Bo.
And I've been, Adam can attest, all the years we went to Kentucky, I had a kill streak. I had killed a deer in Kentucky in September.
And we were rooting against him.
I killed a deer in September every single year in Kentucky up until like 2 years ago. Or actually, I think it was last year, wasn't it?
It was last year. We thought this is the year Birch is on a stinking. We were like, hell yeah, because we've all had a year where we didn't kill one in Kentucky, and Birch is the only one that doesn't. And we were like, hell yeah, this is going to be his year.
But then I shot one on a return trip, but like in September, I've always killed one in September. Mm-hmm. So like to me, killing one in September is so awesome.
Oh,
even if it's a small yearling doe, whatever.
Get that summer coat.
I've actually killed 3 velvet bucks in Kentucky, but none of them are bigger than a 5-pointer.
Right. Combined, we're breaking 80 inches.
The 5-pointer is not even a legit 5-pointer. I'm counting like a little bump. Like he's a dink, but he's velvet though. And I shot my first buck in Kentucky was a spike and full velvet. But that spike and full velvet, Adam will remember this. These guys come. I said, "Hey, somebody bring the deer cart from the camper." And
not close.
They come over there, and they're like, "I had barely reception where I was or whatever," and they get there with the deer cart, and I was like, "Well, I got a doe laying over there. I got another doe down right over there, and then my little velvet spike is down right over here." Like we took out 3 deer on the deer cart that I had shot, and all 3 of my arrows was stuck in the ground in a circle like that with blood soaked.
That's awesome.
I shot the one doe.
You shot one, yeah.
I shot the one doe, and then like 10 minutes later, here come another big doe, and she was over there smelling the bloody arrow. So I was like, hell, I got 4 tags. So I freaking shoot. I put an arrow through her, and now her bloody arrow is another pass through, and it's stuck in the ground right next to the other bloody arrow. And then here comes this spike buck, and I didn't even have an arrow knock because I was like, man, I already got 2 deer. These guys are gonna be like, are you kidding me? Because like they're like, we got 2 deer to get out and get.
It is 90 degrees.
Yeah.
We're hungry. We're tired. All the I'm hunting with a bunch of pansies. So we get the then that deer, that little spike, his spikes were so small I couldn't even tell it was a buck. And he's smelling the 2 bloody arrows. And as he's over there smelling the 2 bloody arrows, I get to looking and I'm like, that's a buck. And then I'm looking and I'm like, he's got velvet on them spikes. I mean, they're just like this, like 3 or 4 inch spikes, but they're full velvet. I was like, velvet buck? Tell me I won't.
Tell me I won't.
So now I shot the one doe, which was a small doe. But then the big mama doe comes in and smelling the arrow. So I put an arrow through her, and then that little buck came in. Didn't even have an arrow on my arrow rest. I was like, I've got 2 deer to track. These guys are going to be giving me so much hell about, they're tired, hungry. We got to get these deer out of here. Then that little buck, I noticed it was a buck, and then I noticed it was velvet. And I was like, this is a velvet buck kill if I pull this off. So I sent an arrow through him. All 3 of my arrows were stuck in the ground perfectly at an angle in the same little 1 foot area. That was the most epic. And that's why I go to Kentucky, just to run arrows through some stuff.
You go to have fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you see all these big bucks back here, but man, my season is grueling.
I wish it was the same buddy backup as that was for that spike. Because you know how much fun we had actually when you were like, oh my gosh, you killed a spike in some velvet. That's badass.
Yeah.
Your buddies back you up so much on that stuff, but you come to your home state and kill something like that.
Right. Yeah.
But we're like, you're dragging that thing out on your own.
Right. Don't even call me.
Yeah. But it's just, man, if people would just get out and do it, get a couple buddies and go out of state, you will not regret it. And you'll be doing it 10 years later like we've been doing.
And the people that you meet, too, is pretty cool.
Oh, my gosh. The amount of people we've met from out of state. Get back to that story you were talking about, Randy.
Yeah, so me and Randy go down there on November 5th, right? This is my big buck anniversary. I've killed giants on November 5th before. And I had done it in Kentucky last year on November 5th. And me and Randy's there, just me and him. We're there stupid early. Randy is like,
oh yeah,
he has us there like an hour before we even need to get out of the truck. So we're sitting there in the parking lot, and then we're sitting there in the parking lot. We're by ourselves, and I was like, dude, let's drive down to the other parking lot. Let's just see if there's other hunters coming yet. There's like 3 or 4 parking lots right here on this county road that all access the same lane, though. And we drive down to this one, and I seen a light on down there. I was like, dude, there's somebody down in the parking lot. Drive down in there. We drive down in there. This guy's from Vermont. This guy's from Vermont. I'm like, dude, that is a long way from here.
That's a hell of a drive.
Yeah, and he's in a Toyota. He's in a Toyota Tacoma, camper shell on it.
You need to tag him in this.
I'm like, are you a hunting public guy? Because I seen him get out, and he has a cot. He has a bed cot in the bed of his truck. He's got like a boot dryer. He's got a fold down table built that flips up out of the way, but then he can fold it down. He's got like a little sink, and he's got like a little camp stove. This dude's got like a little setup in the bed of his truck. He could live out of the bed of his truck, like the hunting public kind of guys or whatever. And I thought it was cool. Randy didn't see it because I've got my passenger side window talking to this dude in this parking lot. And he's like, you guys hunted here before? And we're like, yeah, we've been coming here for, year. A lot of times we, obviously we give some other people to run around, you can gauge the people, when you can tell the guy's a dick and an asshole and he's not going to be friendly to you, then we give it right back,
Right.
But this dude was cool. He was legit. He was sincere. He was like, I've never killed a buck over 100 inches in my life. And here he is driving all the way to Kentucky to hunt public.
Driving 15 hours to shoot a spike.
Yeah. So he asked us some tidbits, and like we were legit giving this dude the hookup because I within 1 minute I had read the guy.
Yep.
Like of all the guys,
it's pretty easy.
40% of the time you can tell like don't even tell this guy anything.
Yeah.
This is a good dude. Like, hey man, this guy's legit.
Yeah. This dude was cool, and so we give him legit info. He's like, "Where would you guys recommend me going?" He's saddle hunting. I was like, "Dude, if I was saddle hunting, I would get back here on this ridge that, we know they're back there, but we just ain't gonna. We're just too lazy anymore to hike back that far when we know we could kill deer somewhere closer, So we sent him back there, and we sat there and shot the shit with him for 15 minutes. We drive out of that parking lot, and then I told Randy, I was like, dude, you know what? Go back. I want to talk to that dude again. We go back, and I'm like, hey, look me up. I was like, what's your name on Facebook? I looked him up on Facebook. I want to communicate with this guy more, right? Mm-hmm. When we split ways that day, I know I'm probably never going to see that guy again.
Right.
But I want to be able to, like, did you ever have any luck or whatever? And he told me his name, but his name was Jesse Smith or something. Like there was 80,000 of them. Right. He didn't come up. He's not that active on Facebook or whatever. Randy was like, look Birch up. He's probably got like a big buck profile pic or something. He typed my name in, and that was the first one that popped up, and like he friend requested me, and that evening, anyways, that day, I shot a deer that day with Randy, and I ended up missing a nice buck that day too. That was a Pope and Young buck that I shot right under. But then we see that dude at the parking lot, and he didn't have any luck or whatever that evening. But there was a gun hunt in that public land. So that public land we hunt in Kentucky, that's another part I forgot to leave out, or I left out on accident.
Right.
That part, not only is it the most deer killed in the Kentucky state when we looked up that Owen County, Kentucky, that public land we hunt is archery only.
That's even better.
That's
awesome. The key I was telling Brett. I was like, do so much research.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
I didn't even think about talking about that either. But that was a key when he was talking about going to Ohio. I was like, man, you need to research it like no other. I said we would kind of been screwed if we didn't have Birch. But like Burcham went to the distance of researching you can hunt this. Is it gun? Is it bow? Is it both or what? And he found this place in Kentucky that was bow only. And it was that way for years till when was it?
Last 4 or 5 years, they've been having a draw hunt there.
Yeah, and we went down there. It was going to be a go-back hunt for us. We went down there, got way early, thought we were way early, and there was like 20 trucks. And we're like, what the hell? We get out, and these guys got Hunter Orange on. It just busted our bubble. Like,
yeah. We were like, hey, why is everybody putting orange on? Like, they were like, it's a special draw hunt here for gun. You have to be a drawn hunter today.
Yeah.
We're like, what? Like, it's public land. Like, we've been coming here. Like, they had just started it. They've been doing it like the last 4 or 5 years.
Well, I think the thing that I still had fun. It was still fun.
They always will be.
But it was a short-term deal. Like, I killed on the 27th. We didn't decide to go to Ohio like 3 days before that. It was kind of just like a spur of the moment. Hey, let's go, So we went. We already had the time off work. We basically had the week planned out at home, what we were going to do. And it burst Brian's bubble even more because we're in Ohio and he's getting pictures of these 160s running the river, in his Indiana spot, which I don't think he liked that too well. But, like, you're still going to, he didn't kill the deer while we were over there. He could still go over there and, still try it out. But it was such a blast. We took an enclosed trailer.
This is we've kind of experienced it. The camper that we stripped out, the meat wagon, the traditional meat wagon.
Oh yeah.
We just had an enclosed trailer, and it didn't really work out. It had one cot in it, but I had a tent, and he had a tent. It was. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was like, hey, let's drink beer until we're warm enough to go to bed, because I woke up with frost on my pillow. You know what I mean? But
like, I mean, his story of Ohio, it reminds me of our first time going to Kentucky with all of us.
Yeah.
We started off with, we called it the meat wagon. We had a camper at Clint. I think he paid like $500 for it. We stripped it all. We built bunk beds inside of it. We went down to Kentucky. Birch did his research. Now we're talking about this one property that we always hunt. But the first, 3 or 4 years, we were hunting other properties. It took us a while to figure it out. So don't give up on Ohio.
No, I want to go back.
Because it took us years to figure out this is where we need to be. It wasn't we only hunted that place. We hunted, 5 or 6 different places. But before we realized
we were killing deer in the others.
We were killing deer. Yes, absolutely. But what really screwed us over is when we killed the hogs. Once we killed the hogs, we were putting our time into this one area because if I ain't seen a buck or a doe,
to go back,
I might see a pig.
Go back a little bit on when we were talking about setups with the climbers and the saddles and all that. Do you think it would be beneficial? Because me, I like to film. Mm-hmm. Say I wanted to go with you to out of state somewhere and film. You think the saddle would be okay? Because we only need 3 climbing sticks for the 2 of us. We're going to be in the same tree. You think it'd be easier to get in and out with filming equipment and everything as far as a setup? I'll carry the climbing sticks in.
I watched the hunting public do that the other day. Like both the cameraman and the hunter was both in saddles.
Yeah.
I seen it. I just seen a video the other day I was watching.
I think it'd be more beneficial for a cameraman.
Oh, for
even
sure.
If you take a climber, because a cameraman has a much more shit to carry in.
Yeah, you still got a backpack of stuff. Full of stuff.
Yeah, it looks like I'm going elk hunting most of the time, and I'm just
deer hunting. You're comfortable with your climber. I think you could still pull it off. I think you can still video. You just got to watch how high you go with a saddle or with your climber for the cameraman to be able to pull it off. Because if you go way up there and he only brought 3 sticks, he's videoing from underneath you. It wouldn't be the same. So you would have to. I'd say you'd have to practice it.
Oh, for sure.
So you get an idea how high to climb before you try pulling off a saddle and a climber video.
Right.
Yeah, I think I need to get a public land set up down because I want to go on trips like that.
You said something, Brett, a while back about like the hunting public or doing the public land challenge.
Oh, I want to do one.
We could bring Blue River bow hunting to Kentucky with us.
Hey, I'll film. I'll bring the beer and the camera,
and we can kind of get something going like that. Like half the years I can't afford it, but guess what? If I ain't hunting, I can video, and I don't have to pay for a hunting license.
Yeah,
we can get a little. We don't have a name for ourselves yet,
and even we could even do it in Indiana. Say we have a free weekend in October somewhere. You guys got buddies, I got buddies. We find a campground somewhere in Hoosier National or something like that, and have a deer camp and have a of course, we're not going to go in there. We're in Indiana. We're not going to shoot a basket rack. We're not going to shoot a spike.
Yeah.
But we could have like a challenge, like, let's see what you got. We'll see what we can get on. What can you get on film? It would be a lot of fun, I think.
I think so, absolutely. You bring up anything, me and Birch kind of look eye to eye and be like, oh, we got a story on that one too.
I've been all over the Hoosier National. I've been all over Mississinawa.
Yeah.
Huntington.
Hoosier National, you had a chance at a giant there. I was with you.
Yep.
And you had to go. You shot a doe, and I think that may have been one of the times that we put it on a stick and carried it out. Am I right?
Yeah.
Didn't we do that? I thought we did, and it was so easy.
Yeah.
We actually tied. We had rope. I think it was. We tied.
I cut legs up like a bow pull-up rope, like the pull-up rope or whatever, and like tied his legs or tied her legs to the stick, and we like laid the stick across our shoulders and like walked out.
And that's awesome. Legit was. I mean, we wung it, we done it, and it was easy as could be. Man, I forgot about that story. That was a good time.
I think we should put something together where it be. I know you guys have your Kentucky trip or whatever. I think it would be fun, even if maybe another state or Indiana or whatever. I say we put together.
Is that a fireball?
Woo! I say we I know it's not like a big thing to you guys, but I put a lot of time and work and stuff into the Blue River bow hunting, and I think we could put together a public land challenge type of thing, and it would be a blast for all of us,
I love hunting public land, even here in Indiana. I mean, I remember the first time I went to Brookville Reservoir. Like I said, I've hunted in Indiana. I've hunted Hoosier National. I've hunted Brookville Reservoir. I've hunted Salamone Reservoir, Mississinawa Reservoir, J. Edward Roush Lake, which used to be Huntington.
All the draw hunts.
I've hunted a lot of draw hunts.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've even hunted, like, there's a Randolph County Fish and Wildlife area here, like just outside of like kind of where I hunt now. It's barely into Randolph County out of Delaware. Mm-hmm. I've killed there. I've killed a doe in the Randolph County Fish and Wildlife area that's like 100 acres. And there's 37 hunters in there sometimes. I've killed a doe there from the ground with my bow.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
But like I'm sitting here looking at the bucks on the wall, Birch. And I remember I went on my 8-year streak of not killing a buck. And I thought, man, I got to do something different.
Yeah.
It's not that you have to do something different. You're 100% correct. You have to put the time in.
Yeah.
Because that 8 years I was putting the time in. I don't know. I learned to hunt the wind a little better.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I think I kept hunting the same spots because the sign was there.
Right. No matter what the wind
was. Like no matter what the wind was, I was hunting the same spots because I was just young.
Right.
But the older I got, like it started clicking for me. So like, I don't know, don't give up and just start shooting dinks is my message, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've shot my handful, I've killed, like I said, I've killed 23 bucks in my life. We just did the math like the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And, a couple of those are velvet Kentucky dinks.
Yeah.
One of those is 100-inch from this year from Kentucky. Like I've got like 6 or 7 racks down here on the wall or down here on the floor that you can't see that are a bunch of little dink basket racks that I've shot, and they all do something for you. Some of them are park hunts, big oak hunts, whatever, like.
Ryan got drawed for a muzzleloader hunt at Muscatatuck, if I'm not mistaken.
I think I've hunted there once.
Yep. And he,
I've never heard that.
I don't think he's going to go. I think
it's more wetlands, if I'm right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's got some good duck hunting there. What?
Yeah, it is actually, but I found one spot there that had all kinds of sign, and it was one of those hunts that I was like, nothing is going right. I climb up, get set up, orange hat falls off.
Is that our 2021 season?
Oh, geez, Pete. This season for me has been, an ass whooping.
Well, last year, for me, everyone only seen the successful side. I mean, some of my close buddies know.
Oh, man, we were scared for you.
Yeah, like, I mean, I had a rough go at it last year, but then I closed out with, I shot my Indiana buck on
the best year.
I shot my Indiana buck on November 3rd. He's a mid 130s 10, right? I shoot him on November 3rd, like it was a Tuesday evening. I shoot him. And we had plans to go to Kentucky November 5th. Randy, and Clint go down there on November 5th. And I shoot the 168, on November 5th. So I'd shot 300 inches of antler.
So you just leapfrogged everybody in 2 days, is what you're saying,
right? Yeah,
So he looks like a phenomenal hunter, but what he's about to tell you is the hell he went through. Like I've always said,
leading up to that November 3rd kill here in Indiana, and then my November 5th kill in Kentucky, like I think October 27th, if I remember right. I think it was a Sunday. October 27th. And this was last year, right? I missed a giant. I mean, the biggest buck I had on trail cam. He was 160s. I was calling him the short time 9, or I forget what I was calling him, but he was a absolute giant. I mean, he was 160 as an 8, but he had, on one side he had like a 1-inch G4 on one side, but he was a 160. He was a 160 8-point frame.
So we just have like a bunch of mass on him, or
everything? He had everything.
Just wide, tall, just massive. I mean, I still got the trail cam pics. He was unbelievable. And
now, go ahead. But I'd like to know how many bucks you've had on camera that you get the next year. Later on, you can tell me.
Right. Yeah. So this buck comes out And this was an epic hunt too, because this is Jacob, right? Like I told you the story earlier about him shooting that 167 when he's 11. So last year he was 15, and this is his first year hunting in the stand on his own, right? Like I had him in. So I was like, if you want to go with me, I don't want to sit with you. I'm after a big buck myself. So if you want to hunt, like you're gonna,
I'll put you somewhere.
Actually, he had hunted before by himself the year before that when he was 14, but I didn't trust him in a stand by himself, so I made him hunt in the ground blind, and I only had a couple ground blinds out, so he would sit in the blind, I would sit in the stand. Well, he ended up shooting a deer. He ended up shooting a button buck that year out of the ground blind by himself, and he thought that was, I mean, it was a button buck, but he was just pumped up the 160s because he didn't have dad over his shoulder coaching him. That he did this with himself, this and that.
Kind of pound your chest kind of moment.
Right. So then coming into the next year, I was like, you know what? You've seen me put this strap on the tree. Let's practice it at home. So we practiced it at home, and I'm like, okay, well, if you want to go hunting with me, you're going to go to your own stand. I'm going to go to a different stand or whatever. So he goes to his own stand. And this morning, he had some action. You know, he'd seen some deer. He's texting me. I've seen a bunch of little bucks so far, and I got 2 little bucks in front of me now. They're kind of sparring around. Here comes that huge 9-pointer, which he was really just an 8 with like a 1-inch G4 on one side. I mean, he was a 160s. He was just so heavy. I still can't stop thinking about him. But he comes out and like he's checking out. He's watching these little bucks, and I'm like, man, he's not gonna come my way. So I snort. I grunt. I like pop 2 little grunts, and I snort wheezed at him. And man, he freaking turned on a dime, and he was trying to get downwind of me. I'm on a fence line. He's like slow trotting down, and he's trying to get downwind to catch my wind. And before he can get to where my wind would hit him in the nose, I'll have an opening there at 30 yards. So I'm in a cheap $50 ladder stand, you know, like where you do the tiny
no padding, nothing. Yep.
Like the tiny little seat platform.
Your ass barely sits on it.
15-foot, ladder stand. So he's coming on the right hand side of the fence line. So I got to get stood up with my bow and get spun around over there. And I'm all set up, and he hadn't busted me yet. He's still coming. And I draw back, and there ain't a blade of grass between us at 30 yards. And I shoot right under him. Oh. I mean, like grazed. If he would have ducked, hard enough, he'd have ducked into it. But I was like, oh man, that was low. He runs out to like 100 yards and stands there. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Because I could see that he wasn't wounded. I was like, I think I shot under him. About that time, Jacob texts me. I hadn't checked my phone. I'm in the middle of a 5-minute encounter with this buck. So I checked my phone after the buck finally leaves my sight. And Jacob's like, Dad, just missed a giant. And I've seen 5 bucks and 2 does. And I had seen, 3 bucks or whatever. And he says, I'm texting him back, like, how big was the buck? And he was like, you would have shot it. That's what he said. So I was like, okay, it was a pretty good one probably then.
Yeah.
And he says, he's like, more deer coming, gotta go. And like I screenshotted that text because it was just so epic coming from like he was on the phone with me, but he was just texting. I'm like, it's not like you can't pick up and leave a text. So it was an epic hunt, even though I missed my big 9 and he missed a giant. Well, then I'm literally lowering my bow, climbing down, and I look over, and here comes this little buck, and he's trotting through, and I'm like, well, he's heading Jacob's way. And I watch this little buck go through. I text Jake. I get down to the bottom. I'm unhooking my bow. I was like, well, I better text Jacobs. And I was like, hey, a little buck headed your way. And he was like, how big? I was like, kind of a dink. He was like, hopefully he doesn't give me a shot.
Is that the video you showed me?
I don't think so. No, we didn't have video of this. This is a long hunt.
Yeah. So I'm checking 2 trail cams on my way to Jacob to get him, right? And I'm over there at one of my trail cams swapping out cards. You know, I got like my extra cards in my pocket. I'm swapping out cards. And while I'm pulling the card in that one camera, I hear dunk. I was like, oh, that was a crossbow going on right there. And then I get over there and he is all jacked up. He's on the phone with his mom. And he's like, Mom, I just shot a buck. And, you know, so now it's his first buck without dad out of a stand. You know, so now it's epic because of that. Like I was in a tree stand by myself, shot this buck, missed a buck earlier, shot this buck, you know, like I mouth stopped him. He's like, Dad, I smoked him. And Justin Henry, one of our other buddies, he was on his way to the buck stop to pick up deer meat or whatever. And he was on his way through and he came and helped us track it. We jumped this buck 7 times, couldn't find it. And then Jacob was in the dumps. He hadn't lost the deer yet, you know. And one of my the other guys that has permission to hunt there ended up finding it like 2 weeks later behind the stand. He was like, dude, your stand over here on the back side of the river, that buck's dead 10 yards behind it. I could smell it and I could see his rack. And I got it now, and he's got a European mount of it and stuff. He ended up putting his tag on it, even though it was 14 days later, I think, when the guy.
Yeah. Hey, that is an awesome thing. Caden shot a buck this year, and man, props to you for doing this and your boy. But Caden shot a buck this year, and we blood trailed it that whole day or that day, and I had to work the next day. Couldn't find it, and it was blood spurt. I mean, it didn't look good at all. Like I've been on millions of blood trails, like we all have. And it was definitely one of those ones where I'm like, we ain't finding this one. And then and we didn't give up. We checked all the way till it hit the road and then backed out. Next day, I get off work. We're driving around to see if we see deer because I didn't get off work in time to go hunting. We find that buck. And I said, all right, Caden, this is what you got. I put it in his hands, which I knew what we were going to do, but I wanted to see what he would choose.
Right.
Do you want to tag him? And if you tag him, you're done for the year. But the right thing is, do you tag him? And I let him give me that option. I was like, hey, if you don't tag him, you can keep hunting. But we have to lie about it. And he said, Dad, let's tag him. And he knew he wasn't getting the meat. He did, coyotes already ate it. He knew like he was done for the year, but he made the right decision. I'll explain karma to you because you probably won't kill a buck for 4 years if you don't put your tag on this thing. But anyways, so you started this all off by everyone thought you had your greatest year, but they didn't understand the toughness of it. And you just explained.
That was just part one.
So you missed the 160s.
I missed the 160s, right? This is on Sunday. And I thought, and the amount of deer Jacob had seen over in his stand, and the amount of deer I had seen that morning, I'm like, man, it is hot right now, So like, it was Sunday. I called in sick on Monday,
as usual.
I don't blame you one bit.
On Monday morning, I catch myself on the other side of that farm, and right at daylight is an absolute giant. I didn't know what buck it was. I don't think I even had trail cam pics of this buck, but I'm hunting on the river, so the deer just flow through there like crazy. So
absolutely.
This is a no doubter, even though it was first minute of light. Like I seen him from 150 yards and was like, that is a giant. And like I was like, I prepared to shoot this deer, and he comes over, and I'm like, man, he's gonna angle across the field away from me. The closest he's gonna be is 70 yards at one point. So I grunt and snort wheeze at him, right? Well, that wasn't smart because he spins on a dime and starts coming straight dead at me. And I got my bow in my hand. I'm trying to get the shot pulled off. And then he comes in quartering to me, and he's at 36 yards. And I'm like, he just freezes there forever and ever and ever. And I'm at full draw already. And I'm like, God, I know that distance. That's 36 yards. And it's a stud. I never got a good look at him other than I could just tell, like, this is a freaking no doubter for TV.
For anybody.
This is a giant. And I was like, man, I can make this shot 36 yards. That's one of my little markers in the yard. You know what I mean? Like this is one of my stops in my shooting.
And I know what you shoot. So next time we have you back, we're gonna talk about the single pin.
Yeah. So I got my single pin on 36 and everything. So I'm shooting it. And I take, even though he's quartering two a little bit, I take the shot. And man, it just missed by this much. But on a quartering two shot, like missing by that much, put it like mid cavity on the entrance. And that's it, like,
it's bad.
It like his asshole. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, it wasn't good. Like, I was like, oh man, I just hit him like way back. And he takes off running, and I thought, I'm never gonna find this buck. So then I go look for him. I found a crazy amount of blood for where the shot was, right? And I'm like, man, maybe I hit the artery. I mean, I've been with hunts with guys where they hit him. They hit the deer in the rump, like the head was where the tail
artery or whatever it's called.
Yeah, they hit it where the head was where the tail was, where you shoot it off.
The reverse act, yeah.
And then deer went 70 yards and died. So I'm looking at it and I'm finding this blood, and I'm like, well, maybe this is going to happen for me one time. And I tracked it all the way to the river, and he crosses the river. This is a big river. Like, it's as big as the Blue River. Like, it's
bigger. It was probably deeper.
What river are we talking?
Mississippi.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've duck hunted up there. It can be pretty deep.
Yeah, so he crossed it, and I'm like, there's no way I'm finding blood on the other side.
You find him downriver.
So I drive over to the other side, and I know the landowner over there, and I go over there and I talk to him. I go over there. It's standing corn that this deer went into, right?
You found blood instantly as soon as across the river.
Yeah, I walked down there, and I'm like, he would have crossed right about here. I'm walking down between the river. The river has like a little, 5 yards, 10 yards worth of like woods and brush, right?
Right.
And there's a standing corn. I'm walking down through there, and I'm like, he would have crossed right about here if he would have came straight across. Boom, blood on the corn stalks, chest high. Or, like right where it would be. And I'm like, there's blood right there. I'm like, man, I'm going to give this deer some time. Like, he's bleeding good. He crossed the river. I found blood on the other side of the river. I'm going to get a posse together. I'm going to come try to find this dude in a couple hours. I go back to the guy's house that I parked at there, and he's like, dude, I'm busy right now, but give me a couple hours. I'll help you. Me and my boys will help you. So then I was like, cool. I come home, and I make a couple phone calls on my way home. I'm here eating lunch. And the guy that lives there, he calls me. He's like, dude, the combine pulled in for the standing corn where your buck went in.
Oh,
the
shit.
Combine pulled in right now. And I was like, get the hell out of here. He's like, you better get back over here. Like, if you want to look for them, these guys are starting to combine. So I get over there and I park. I go out there and I talk to these guys. These guys are from Ohio. They're farming this land here in Delaware County, but they live in Ohio. They drove over here from Fort Recovery, Ohio, and they own this land there or whatever. And I walk up to their combines, and they're looking at me. I got camos on still because I've been hunting all day.
And farmers usually don't like camo.
And they were looking at me like, oh, here we go.
He's going to ask if he can hunt here.
Yeah, so they get out, and, they're like, you could tell they're like not wanting to talk. So
yeah.
I was like, look, man, I wounded a big buck, and he went into this standing corn right here, and I was going to give it a few hours before I looked for him, but now you guys are here. So you're fast forwarding the process. And they were like, well, we're sorry, we're from Ohio, but we're gonna knock this field out today. And they were like, if you want, you can give us your number, and if we see anything or see him or whatever, we'll give you a call. So I was like, yeah, I was like, let's just do that. And I gave them my number, and I thought, I'd never hear nothing about it. I leave there, and like me and my uncle had met up with me at that time. We're walking down through the cut, which now they've made 2 passes by the river, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're walking down through back to the truck, and like literally I see a corn stalk leaf with blood on it. But you don't know where it was from because
they didn't give you like a half hour to walk through it before they started cutting it.
No, I'm saying like I only seen the first blood on the first
literally the first row.
First row. And now they've done 2 passes. So like now
you find the leaf, it's been blown from somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
rough.
the leaf we found, I'm like, I don't even know where this is from. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to find that buck for sure. I get no sooner than I get home, about 45 minutes to an hour later, I got this weird number call me. It's the Ohio Farmers. And they were like, dude, we just about ran your buck over with the combine, and he's huge. You should get over here. He's still in the standing corn here.
Is he dead?
No, he's still running.
Oh, he's wounded. And I get my uncle back on the phone, and I was like, dude, bring your bow. Like, we're gonna like cover.
We're finding this thing.
Corn. And we get over there, and like these guys have these Ohio Farmers. These guys are hunters too. They had a plan. You know, they were like, dude, you get in the guy with the guy that was catching. You know, like
right?
He's just got like
the hopper.
The hopper. Yeah.
So the hoppers. But he's in the tracks one. He was like, dude, I can get to 37 mile an hour in this thing. He was like,
Rambo.
He was like, if he comes out of this standing corn, like, I'll make a move and we'll pin him down, and you can get a shot from the side of this as long as you're comfortable from shooting from the side of this cart, you know. And I was like, I'll try it. So I'm in the combine with this dude with my bow. I just met this dude right now, you know. I got my bow in the combine. I'm talking to this dude. I end up landing permission to hunt their farms that they own here in Indiana. Of course, like, that's my thing. And we like, as it's getting down to like, there's only like 2 or 3 passes left. And the combine guy's like, I just seen him again. He's moving more towards the center. And like, we were talking back and forth on the radio, you know, and he was like, you think he should get in there with you? And he was like, no, he's going to come out when we get closer to the end. So then we're getting closer to the end. And I told my uncle, I was like, you stand over here with your bow. I'm going to go down by the river with my bow, because there's nowhere else for this buck to go but back to the river. Like, everything else is just wide open. He's going to want to go back to the river. So I set up with my bow down there and got an arrow. Not like, they dropped me off when they knew they only had 2 passes left. They were like, dude, he's got to come out now. There's nowhere else for him to go. So they were like, we're going to make sure that we all, and the couple semi drivers were standing out there ready to push him towards the river too, you know.
It's a
like,
team effort.
This is a 6-guy ordeal now, you know. And I'm down there with an arrow knocked by the river. Well, my uncle, he's been BSing with the truck drivers, and he forgot to grab his bow out of the truck.
Oh, shit.
And they pushed this deer out with the last pass there, and it runs right straight head on for my uncle and goes by him at 10 yards, gimped up, and my uncle didn't have a weapon. He didn't come down to me at all.
Oh.
I'm like 80 yards away. And my uncle was like, dude, that would be your biggest buck. He was like, that was a booner. He was like, that was a freaking booner, dude. And like, so yeah, that happened. And
so that's your second buck.
Wonder if he ever ended up dying after that.
I don't know. I think.
Well, I've been trying to break Birch into shed hunting, and last year I think is the most you've ever put time into doing it.
Right? Yeah. I found my first Delaware County Indian.
Yeah, and man, shed hunting is just.
I want to get into it. Like, I've been a bunch. But I'm not going to lie to you. I've never found a shed, and I put hours and hours. You got to do it.
You just got to keep at it. I mean, there's some deer that don't lose them till way later in the season, or not season, but way later in the year.
I have found like 4 sheds total, and 2 of them have been in Colorado, and 1 of them have been in Kentucky, and then 1 in Delaware County.
Yep.
So that's actually. I found 2 in Indiana, so I found 5 sheds. 2 in Indiana. 1 was down in Madison, Indiana, turkey hunting.
Yep, I found one.
That's what I usually look.
I found one on that same field.
Yeah,
that's what I usually look.
I found one this year in Delaware County.
So let's get back to it because we're wrapping up. We're hitting the 2-hour mark.
We've literally hit. We're at the longest podcast I've ever done now. Which, hey, we're gonna put this in as many parts as we can possibly get it. We'll get you on here as possible.
So that's 2 bucks.
This was Sunday. I missed the big buck that I had on trail cam. I had named everything. The second day, that was a buck I'd never seen before. But my uncle was like, "Dude, that was a Boone and Crockett buck. That you wounded." And those Ohio guys were helping everything. That was Sunday, Monday, right? Then that following Sunday was October 30th or November 1st or something like that. And me and Randy went back to Kentucky, just me and him.
Yeah, this one we thought we was gonna find Birch hanging by a safety
I
strap.
shot a doe. I shoot a doe at first light there, and I smoked her. I was like, she's down. I heard her crash, blah, blah, blah. But Randy was like, well, when we get down and eat lunch, we'll take care of her. Let's keep hunting. I was cold. It was windy. So about 9:30, 9:45, I get cold, and I hunker down in my stand, and I'm just sitting there playing on my phone. I got my hood up,
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, my morning hunt's over. It's 9:45. I've only seen that doe that I shot, playing on my phone. And I'm sitting there all hunkered up. All of a sudden, I look to my left. 15 yards is a 150-inch 10-pointer walking by me at 15 yards, parallel in my tree, wide open. And I catch a glimpse of him, and I'm like all super stealthy, putting my phone back in my hunting vest, And then I'm grabbing my bow, all super stealthy. But as soon as I took my bow off my hook, I stood, drew,
all in one motion.
All in one motion. Like I might as well have done a jumping jack in my tree stand. It's at my 9 o'clock, and he like looks right up at me like, "What was that?" And like. So then I'm at mid draw. I ain't even all the way back. I'm like 3/4 draw, and I'm like, oh shit. He's looking at me, and I'm like, look away, because I'm gonna finish drawing and just put it on.
Game over.
It was too late. He was looking at me. I had made too much motion. He blows, takes off. So that was $3 in 7 days. That were all 150 plus that I had blown it on.
I mean, yeah, I knew like the stories of you, like how hard it was for you that year. But like now I'm thinking about it, you had the opportunity at $5 that year. Holy shit. So is he. That's where he's at. Break time. So is he.
Oh, you went to potty break?
Never been on a podcast where everybody went to the bathroom and came back. That's when you know you've been on one for a long time.
Yeah, we're 2 hours deep. Which
I've pissed myself 3 times and not got up. These guys are getting up every time.
I can't help it. But until he gets back, check us out. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Actually, we've just discovered it this week. There's a app called Go Wild.
Yes.
Really fun.
It's a great app just to look on.
And nobody gives nobody shit on anything. And the more that you post, the more rewards that you earn. So I've already earned a T-shirt and stickers, and it's really cool to meet all the people on there. Even the guy who made it is actually going to be a guest on this podcast coming up. I got a schedule with him, but he finally messaged me back. I think he messages everybody on there, but finally got him lined up in there. But it'll be fun.
So yeah, Birch, when you're gone, we were talking about what's the name of it? Going Wild. I sent you the link on my face.
You got to check it out, man.
I sent you like log on to that.
I'm on there.
Are you already? Before I sent that to you?
Yeah, I'm on there because like Bow Hunting League uses that and stuff.
Okay, yeah,
I've seen them.
Yeah, you can get T-shirts and stuff. So we're just advertising some stuff that we like. We're not really advertising. We're just talking about shit that we like.
I have the Go Wild app on my phone.
Yeah, me too.
Yep. So did you get a free T-shirt? Brett's already got enough points to get a free T-shirt
and some stickers.
No, I don't have anything like that yet.
You're slacking.
The more you post on there and stuff, the more points you get and stuff.
I have a bunch of free bow
hunting league. That's awesome.
I'm advertised by Camo Bush Light.
I got the Bow Hunting League stickers, and
I
got like the shirt. I haven't got one of the hats. The hats are pretty sweet though. I do want one.
Yeah, they have a couple that I like. So I know that you got a little bit of sponsorship and like pro staff and that kind of thing. Talk a little bit about that and the companies that you represent.
Yeah, I'm on Expedition Pro Staff, Expedition Archery, and it's pretty cool. Like it's really awesome. Like obviously I was a Matthews guy before that. Matthews, Hoyt, PSE. Those companies are so big.
Right.
They're not going to pro staff the regular Joe anymore.
Absolutely.
You got to be a Lukoski or something to get pro staff with those companies. Like you got to be Levi Morgan or something.
That dude's incredible with those. What's he like a 12-time world champ now or something?
Yeah. So they're trying to pro staff people that are like that.
Right.
Us guys aren't of that caliber. You know what I mean? Like Levi Morgan, he signed a contract with Matthews for $10 million.
Holy smokes!
Getting up into like, pro sport contracts now for
They're blowing up that much.
Yeah. Levi Morgan signed a $10 million 10-year contract with Matthews.
That's crazy.
But so I went away from Matthews because of that. I want to be part of an up and coming thing. Like
I don't blame you.
Like right here, if Blue River bow hunting turns into the next Primos hunting, you know what I mean? Like I want to be in with you guys. You know what I mean? Like
I want you to be in with us. Period. With looking at all the fucking bucks behind you.
So that's why the expedition meant so much to me. There's a guy that owns the local archery shop here in town. I've turned a lot of my buddies on to him. Hybrid Hunter Archery.
That's the guy that we looked for at Buck with. Am I right?
Yep, that was him.
What's the name of the shop?
Hybrid Hunter Archery.
That's a great dude.
That's cool. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of in the market for a new bow, so you might point me in the right direction.
And this guy was a great guy. I never met him until we went to Buck.
Locally here, my buddy Mike Harrison, he's the shop owner, but he's a regular Joe like us. He works a full-time job. He works at he's a mechanic at an auto body shop. He works 9 to 5, and then he runs the little archery shop out of his pole barn in his backyard here in Muncie through the evenings and weekends and whatever, But he's also a big hunter, so you can't be coming September 30th like, dude.
I'm
to get a whole bow team.
I would be coming this winter because I would want to shoot it. Springs. I would definitely need to shoot.
He doesn't want the big overhead. He did have a big shop, and it didn't work out that way. So like doing it in his backyard has been working out better, But Expedition is a small time company that's on the up and up. They're like, if you would have got with Bowtech, before they were huge or whatever, so that's what I feel like with Expedition. Like they have the right people. Like they're. Like I went to the, I go to the
SHOT Show.
It's what is it? The
ATA
show.
ATA show. So I go there with Mike all the time, right? As a shop staffer. So like I'm on Mike's shop staff, right? He's got like 4 or 5 of us that are shop staffers. And I go there, dude, I'm BSing with the CEO, president, owner of Expedition like we are right now.
That's awesome.
Are you going to do that with Matthews, Bowtech, or PSC?
Hell no, he didn't even show up.
You know what I mean?
Like, I don't even know who that person would be.
Yeah.
They're on a yacht smoking Cubans,
Fuck yeah.
And got 2 Cubans next to him.
Expedition, the dude is at the ATA. And then, like, we're sitting there BSing with this guy, trading stories, right? And then later that evening, we went to a seafood restaurant downtown Indy, a fancy place like Ocean
Air. That's where I took my wife for our anniversary. Shout out to
fancy place, right? And I'm at this. We're at this place, and we get a table, and I'm with Donnie Monroe, the guy that got me into hunting. That's like my uncle.
He's where the story all started tonight.
He's on Team 200 TV and all that.
Oh, no shit.
He's at the ATA show hunt with Team 200 TV.
Wow.
Adam Hayes from Ohio.
Adam Hayes, he does the moonlight thing or blood moon or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah. So I'm sitting here having dinner with those guys, right? And the CEO, president of Expedition, is at the next table over. And I'm sitting there with Expedition swag on at the freaking Ocean Air.
That's awesome.
Like they come over and talk to me. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
After the ATA show,
I'll never forget watching the video Adam Hayes on his deal Team 200 when he passed that like 180 something. He said you can't
next year.
He said you can't shoot 200 if you shoot a 180, and he shot up. I mean, he shoots absolute giants, and I don't necessarily I don't know enough about the blood moon thing. I tried to research it by myself without buying their whole little moon guide deal, and they're probably onto something, but they're also probably hunting some badass property too,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They are onto something. Yeah. And then you that moon guide though is not expensive. It's like $20.
Is it really?
They got an app.
Dude, I tried finding it. Like should be able to Google it. Like
they have an app. I'm pretty sure.
Kidding.
Yeah, they do have an app too. I think, but I think it's only like $20. But
yeah.
And my buddy Donnie's turned me on to some other cool the stuff through the trade industry, like the ATA and stuff. Like I met an up and coming company called Scrape Stick.
Yeah, you actually sold a lot of those.
Yeah,
from
dude,
guys
like,
at work.
I love them. Like I think they're awesome. Like so, it's this little plastic deal, and you can put a tree branch in it, and you can put whatever. Like you're putting the scrapes, you're putting the tree branch, licking branch wherever you want it.
Yeah.
So like if you're hunting out of a blind,
you see them on like people use them on.
I think you
hunting
showed
channels.
it to me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty epic. But I met the owner for that company at the ATA show.
Man,
he gave me like a free hat, free shirt. Like
they've been
promoted
switching
stuff.
the ATA show, right? So like it was in
Yeah, it
Indy
was
there for a minute,
virtual.
and then it went to Louisville, right?
Yeah, like I've been to it in Louisville and in Indy both. It only goes back and forth between those two, I think.
Okay.
But then last year they didn't have it because of COVID, and
Right.
I don't know that they're having it this year either. I'm not sure yet.
I haven't
always
seen
like-
anything on it.
It's like January or February, but
So you have to buy like an ATA membership, right, to attend?
well,
I think you have to be.
Mike owns the bow shop, so like
Right,
when you
that's
own
the
the bow
difference.
shop, you get an invite, and then you can bring, a couple staffers or whatever. You pay so much for your tickets or whatever,
Right.
but you have to be like involved somehow like that, like have accounts with all the kind of Papes archery and all the kind of like the dealers, the warehouses and stuff. Like
I'd like to go down to the NWTF show down in Nashville. I think that'd be a real good time.
Yeah.
I probably could talk the wife into that one, actually.
the ATA it's been an awesome experience. I've been like three times, 4 times.
Man,
And
you
I-
met
follow-
T-Bone, you met Michael Wydell.
Yeah, I follow all this stuff, dude. Like I mean, as far as my cable goes, as long as I have ESPN, NFL Network,
Red
and
Zone.
Outdoor Channel and Sportsman's Channel, that's all I care. What I mean?
Right.
Local channels. Like
Yeah.
I could just do away with. I could have 10 channels total that I watch.
And I've asked this question several times on my show. Would you rather watch like the Sportsman or Outdoor Channel, or would you rather watch YouTube?
I watch both.
I watch both too. I don't know if you got me to pick, I would probably say YouTube because I like the common guy like me.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
But
Yeah,
I do
yeah,
enjoy
yeah.
those shows. Like North American Whitetail is the reason why I do what I do because
Yeah,
I grew up
yeah.
watching it, and it's like
Yeah.
I want to be those guys.
So, and I at the ATA is so awesome to like Stan Potts from the North American Whitetail. I've stood
absolutely.
there and had conversation with Stan Potts for 15 minutes.
And that's and people watching this that don't have a clue like who Stan Potts is, let me tell you, it's Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm sorry, folks.
I
Give
mean,
me
for
a
the
second.
younger generation, Michael
Yeah.
Wydell is Michael Jordan.
Right.
But like for us older guys, Stan Potts, man,
Stan
just
Potts
his
was a
emotional
legend.
reactions when he kills a giant
No-
is
another-
us when we kill 130s.
Yeah. Another one I'll never forget is at the ATA show, my first time going there. I'm getting showed the Primos. Remember, like Primos made the blind you can see through.
Yeah.
first?
Right.
I'm talking about like
Yeah.
like Rhino
Yeah.
has it now and stuff, but like Primos had the I forget what they called it.
It's like 360 view or something.
Yeah,
shit
360.
Like that.
Yeah. So I'm getting showed the Primos 360. by
Holy
Will-
shit! Like
by
this-
Will
By
Primos.
Will Primos.
By Will Primos, dude.
Damn.
Will Primos is giving me a tour of the 360. Like he's like, go sit inside. I'm going inside the blind and sitting in the little stool.
unreal.
Will Primos is right outside, like telling me all about it and stuff, like the material they used. Like I'm more starstruck over that than walking down the street.
What this damn
I don't give a
blind-
fuck about the blind.
Yeah, but now me and you had experience at the Deer and Turkey Expo.
I love
Yeah,
it.
Do you remember-
that was Stan Potts.
That was
I
that
love
was
it.
Stan
No,
Potts.
It was Harold.
No, it wasn't. It was
Harold Knight.
Harold Knight.
Harold
It was
Knight.
Harold Knight. So we're sitting there looking at the wall. Everyone brings
Oh,
their bucks
absolutely.
there. Birch probably has
My
17 of
buck
them up
was
there.
there.
I know. I already said you had probably had 17 of them hanging on the wall. But we're sitting there talking and looking at them and stuff. And then we look next to us, and Harold Knight's standing there talking, or just looking at him too. And he starts talking to us, and we're like, yeah, just bullshitting, like, holy fuck, like, this is who this is. Then he starts talking to us like we work at this place. Like he's like, where do we go from here?
He thought I was the guy he was supposed to look for.
Yeah,
like,
but
hey, when you get there,
he didn't bring that up to 20 minutes after we've been talking to him.
Right, yeah,
but what blew our mind this whole conversation is nobody knew who he was but me and him.
Dude, David Knight, or was it David? Is it David Hale and Harold Knight?
Harold and David.
Harold and David. Yeah. Their turkey videos back in the day were par to none. You know, they blew everybody out of the water.
I knew who it was when we were talking to him, me and Adam, and like,
dude, didn't he even show something on his phone that we're like, what the hell? Like, we seen something on his phone. What was it? Do you remember he showed a picture?
It was Stan Potts was texting him.
Yeah, Stan Potts was texting him when we were standing there.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh my God, we were so starstruck, but we played it cool. We're like, hey man, we really don't work here.
I know
he found somebody
was like,
for him.
We were standing in front of my buck, and I was like, yeah, that's my buck. And then
he started putting two together.
That's when the dude at Noblesville Cabela's, that Tim Beck buck. 300-inch buck that's at the Cabela's in Noblesville. That buck was in the center of the Hoosier Wall of Fame, like he was in the center, and it was 300-inch buck. And he that's what it was. He was FaceTiming Stan Potts.
He sent the picture to him.
No, he was showing
him. Yeah,
he had Stan Potts on FaceTime and was
like awesome
showing the 300-inch buck. He was like, then he came back to Stan Potts like in front of him. And he was like, Indiana's got it going on anymore, or something like that to Stan Potts. And meanwhile, me and Adam are still standing there BSing with him too. And like it was a cool interaction.
Birch was trying to screenshot Stan Potts' numbers.
Do you think Indiana gets overlooked in the Midwest?
I do. I mean, but I like that about it.
You know what? The secret is look at out-of-state tags, and you'll see what gets overlooked.
Yeah, Indiana's tag prices.
The price. If you look at every state around us, look at the prices on out-of-state tags.
Fuck Illinois.
That will tell you what state gets overlooked.
Yeah.
And if you see high dollar state tags, guess what?
People are.
It's getting hunted from out of state like no.
Well, look, everybody that surrounds us. You got Illinois to the west. You got Ohio to the east. You got Kentucky to the south.
The only thing kills central Indiana is no woods. If you go south and you bring those south woods, the amount of woods that they have north, holy shit, we'd blow Illinois out of the water.
Yeah,
I think we would too. You know, nobody's gonna look at us, which
that's good. More power to it.
I got more.
But actually, no. I mean, come on out of state. Come on out of state. We don't have hunting. We don't have the state property that other states have. That's the difference in Indiana.
Indiana has more. We're more. We have more towns and cities and stuff.
Yeah, we don't have the acres of state property that other states do. That's what changes us.
You know, you look at like Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like a lot of their the tourist money that comes in is off deer hunting.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, we don't have that whatsoever. You know, I wouldn't even say we have anything outdoorsy wise that's why somebody's coming to Indiana. You know. Especially turkeys. We ain't got shit for turkeys.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I travel for turkeys.
Birch, we're hitting 2 hours, 17 minutes. I'd love to have you on. Brett would love to have you on.
Oh, we'll get you back.
We just got a few more questions.
I got one more question.
Wrap this up. I know his question. I know your answer.
But I got one more question. Do you need a cameraman?
Yeah. I was telling him earlier today, I mean, I think it would be awesome. I've always wanted to do that. Like,
yeah, I mean, like you don't have to worry. You're doing your same thing, except for you got me a little above you.
I can never sit behind the camera. Like I want to be a part of all that, but like,
don't worry about it, buddy. That's what you got me for. I have just as much fun behind that camera as I do my bow.
And he know what sucks is like I'm losing my cameraman to you.
No.
But legit. This guy will be November 5th, and if he don't have a buck down, guess what? You going hunting? Yeah, I'm going. I'm used to buddies saying, cool, do you mind if I go with you? Like, yeah, I can put you in this stand. No, this guy in November 5th not having a buck down, he'd be like, cool, can I video you? And you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, dude, You two definitely need to hook up.
No.
You'll make stories over this 2 hours and 20-minute conversation will turn into 4 if you video him a few times. I promise you that.
Oh, absolutely. And like I was telling him, I need to get some. I mean, which it's expensive.
We need to get more cameras.
We need to get more camera setups because, like 70% of the time, I'm with my best friend Ryan, which we kind of started this Blue River bow hunting. And then, like, other than that, I'm with Adam most of the time. Like I said, I was only behind my bow like 4 times this year. Right. And that was that's excluding Ohio because I really didn't get the camera out then. But I enjoy it, man. And I really want to get you a part of our team and stuff going because I know that you're a big buck killer and you take it just as much into, as passionate about it as we are. So I would love to get you on, man.
I'm ate up with it. It's not even funny.
I mean, I have a podcast, you know what I mean? Even when I don't get to hunt, I still get to talk about it,
Yeah, I'm ate up with it, man. It's a year-round ordeal,
Oh, absolutely. And he's told me about your turkey obsession, which is just as bad as mine. And I'm going to get you back on before turkey season so we can talk about it because, hell, that be turkey season, and I might get to get behind the camera for you then.
That would be awesome.
Yep. Yeah, I love the turkey hunting just as much, and I wish. My only regret about turkey hunting is I should have been doing this a long time ago too.
Right.
I could have killed just as many of turkeys as I have the deer, but I just didn't start till like 2014. I think was like my first year turkey hunting.
I got you.
Or whatever year Adam killed his, like I started the next year.
Hey, we don't need to talk about when I've killed it since.
But you, I didn't hunt.
Damn it! This is pissing me off now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
So I got you started on hunting out of state.
Yep.
I go to Kentucky. I kill the biggest buck out of any of us. I kill 152.
Yeah.
Get him hooked. He goes and kills a 168. So I go turkey hunting for the first time ever. I kill Tom. He's like 24 pounds, 11-inch beard. Good beard. I mean,
good bird.
Great bird for the first one. I'll tell Burch about it. Guess what he does? He starts killing one.
Bird.
He kills one. I shot mine with a shotgun.
Double
he kills
beard.
with a bow. He's killed him every year since. He's going out of state killing him. I'm like, okay, dude.
Yeah.
You got to recognize I suck at everything, but I get you hooked at all.
So you talk about deer hunting in Kentucky. Have you ever turkey hunted Kentucky?
No, we haven't.
I go there for a week every year besides the COVID year, which I threw a fit like a 5-year-old when I didn't get to go. But it's incredible.
You've seen us go down there on ETH weekend, Burch. Remember, I took my boys down there. Brett videoed them.
But that was weird because we had it was like 32 degrees. Normally it's like 70 when I go.
Yeah, so Brett's got some property down there.
Down there. We could do a whole series of Kentucky.
I drove down there, so if you're interested in going this year, we can make a trip. I drove down and took the kids. And hey, I didn't have the money to spend time, so I spent it on the kids. But
I know I was watching your guys' podcast with Ben Harrison from Bow Hunting League.
Yeah.
And I was on a turkey league or a turkey team this year.
No shit.
Yeah. And I submitted my kill and everything. But I was supposed to. I did hunt. I hunted 3 states. I was supposed to hunt 4 states. I legit could have killed the Grand Slam this year, but I only killed the one in Indiana. But Florida.
You went to Florida, and that blew up.
Through the day before, as I'm on my way down there, the outfitter texted me and said she had a stroke and she couldn't. The hunt was canceled.
Oh, it's a bunch of bullshit.
So then I go down there, didn't hunt, but then I came back after vacation with the family because my family was all going down there too. I was going to turkey hunt for 3 days.
He scheduled a vacation for them to enjoy and him to enjoy.
I was going to be a turkey hunting and spring break and vacationing all the same week. And that was going to be epic. Well, then my turkey hunt got canceled, so I ended up vacation with the family the whole time. Then I come back and I go to South Dakota, hunt on an Indian reservation on public land or whatever. And I'm the only guy out of 10 guys from Indiana that didn't kill a bird.
What was those Merriams?
I've never seen Burch have that luck.
They were Merriams. Everybody, 10 guys, they killed 14 birds between 10 guys. I'm the only one that didn't kill one.
That's crazy.
Three guys killed 2, 6 guys killed 1, and I killed none.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I had a gun and I went to Missouri and I botched it and my sight was off and I blew 2 shots on 2 different birds.
Yeah,
Sight,
I don't want to talk about
sight
it.
was dead on. By
I
the
No,
way.
it
seen
was
the
not. It
video.
was like a foot high.
I seen the video.
Yeah, it's not good. I wasn't
Yeah.
very happy with myself, but
Yeah.
you know we'll get things wrapped up. I'll get you back on for turkey season, and tell everybody where they can find you at on social media.
Just Jason Burcham on Facebook, and then I think I have an Instagram, I think, and it's like probably Jason the Bow Hunter, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't get on there much. I'm kind of old school, I guess. Like,
But dude,
I
you
don't have
need to
like Twitter.
you need to get more into it because your shit would blow
Yeah,
up.
you would blow up. That's why I'm gonna get you a part of my stuff so it blows up even more.
Yeah, I'm Jason _ the Bow Hunter
on
Okay.
Instagram.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Longest podcast we've ever done, which don't take any offense to that because I'm having a blast. I could talk for another 2 hours.
I listened to the one with Troy, and Adam was like, "Wait till we get my buddy Burcham."
I called it.
He didn't even say my name. I think he was like, "Wait till you get my buddy on here." I've been trying to get on here. He's been fortunate enough to kill some giants, and he's a bow hunter. Like I mean, I'm ate up with the bow hunting. Even
Absolutely,
you could give me every gun in the world, and I still just tote my bow out every time.
Yeah.
for sure, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. It was really awesome, and we'll do this again coming up with some turkeys and stuff, and maybe I even get behind the camera for you on some turkeys. But
Yeah.
I appreciate everything, and check us out on YouTube. Everybody, hit that subscribe button if you're still on here after 2.5 hours. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, go wild. Anything you can possibly think of, we're there, spreading the word. But y'all have a good one.
Thank you, guys.